has accomplished what she set out to do. It's the option for her to go and do something else is always on the table.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to retire her though, and I don't know that I am
I think
committed to playing some of my other character concepts for long term because I haven't really gotten a good feel for them, and getting a chance to kind of play with them might kind of help.
You're looking for a sabbatical, not a retirement.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
I'm gonna go up to the mountains. I'm gonna figure out this thing with Drigda. I'll be back in 3 months.
Yes. I so want to follow the Drigda storyline, and Beryl does too. It's probably going to be completely anticlimactic. Like, we march up there, they thank us and honor us with some gifts or a feast, and we're done.
Well, I have to reset the API thing here. It's being weird. But what I was going to say is if the group wants to, we could always do a side story, like a different campaign story for a bit, put this one on hold and come back to it. Or, whatever people want to do with the game time. But I think for something like that, we'd have to have everyone on board. So if people are all wanting to try different characters, we could roll up something new, like roll up a new group and do a side story for a bit. But, if we want to stick with this story, I'm fine doing that. It just kind of depends on what the group as a whole wants to do.
I was really just kind of thinking out loud, so we could certainly circle back to it, but I don't necessarily want to sap the session time or make anyone feel like they,
under pressure.
Have to make a call right now.
They're outnumbered.
What do you want to
do? Come up with a new character or something they don't want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something we have to figure out right now. But we can talk about it in the off time. All right, so sorry, I had to restart because the API was being a little weird here. I'm just checking something with settings right now. I'm going to turn off these markers. All right, that's better. All right, so it closed all my notes. Damn it. So last time, here we go. Beryl, you were scribe last week. Do you want to give us a quick recap?
Sure. I forgot I was scribe. Let's see here. Journal.
You said mage for half a second. I was like, oh no!
No, that was. I was gonna say it's your turn this week, but I was gonna get to that after.
I think I remember now. I actually kind of forgot to take notes for half the session, so this is a pretty simple journal. So the tribe was kind of stunned and catching their breath after a battle that kind of went south with the Shadow Kai, and then Lyra showed up, and we find out that she actually captured the 2 Shadow Kai that Mei June had let pass. So we do decide to take them prisoner in order to possibly get some more information about how to get to the Shadowfell or the location of our friends. We take them to that permanent force cell because Lyra had used a force wall to capture them. So we take them to the permanent force cell that's outside Chiron's library. But unfortunately, they are just low-ranking soldiers and apparently don't have any real information or magic or ways to get to the Shadowfell. They indicate that only Arden knows. So we don't know if that's the entire truth, but it does seem like they may not be super helpful. So we're kind of unsure what to do with them. For now, we took their gear, which is stored in the library, and we gave them blankets and rations and stuff for 10 days to hang out there in the cell till we figure things out. I don't think anyone in the tribe currently has any plans for violence against them. We just are trying to figure out how to best use them to maybe get back to negotiations or something that might benefit Orchard and Shock and the others. So then Mei June does take off after that point from the library and to take a walk alone. Melody follows at first, but she comes back alone pretty soon after. So we assume that Mei June was cooling down or maybe going off to visit his friend. Chiron actually provides the tribe with a scroll that has magic that will help the tribe bring one of the mobile hollow points to the library so that Chiron can connect more fully with the hollow. but instead of using up the scroll just for magic once, Sim actually is working on scribing it so that he can use the magic again and again. So Beryl takes some time to make some special ink for Sim to do that. And by the way, Reed, there's 50 gold worth of special ink extra in the bag of holding as well, because she made more than Sim needed.
Good.
Then the tribe takes some rest. We do a lot of talking. And in the morning, June actually stays at the library to do some research on his own. Lyra and Melody are also researching there in the Chiron's library, more on the Shadowfell, while the rest of the tribe heads for the sewers to find Elodie and then brings her to Dinara to introduce them. And they seem to get along really well and have a fine chat. And then the tribe goes with Elodie to introduce her to Demi Prime. Demi Prime is more suspicious of Elodie. The tribe kind of gives a half-hearted endorsement, and Demi kind of agrees to work together with Elodie. So then tribe heads back to the vault, the night weather vault, with Nimble to retrieve the hollow point. I believe that May June has rejoined us and is not staying behind on this leg. And en route, we have encountered some of the nasty mind flayers. So we are currently, I believe, in combat.
I think that we had just like in the last 6 seconds dispatched him. I think we came out of it because I pulled up a mark from like a hole, and that was it.
Right, you were using Blast of Your Rage for that, I remember. So
yeah, and I'm looking, and Beryl's looking pretty hurt. So I don't even exactly remember what all she was hit with, but
good thing I did have rage too. I think that was a pretty shit roll otherwise. Yeah. 8 and 14.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, May June, you would be up for scribe this week. Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Reed is in the leadership position. Beryl is quartermaster. It was the 65th of autumn at 5 o'clock p.m. And yes, we had just finished the fight as the group was heading down to get one of the hollow points for Chiron. So we'll start.
65th of autumn?
Yes, that's what I have here. Is that not correct?
I think I had it wrong in the journal, so I'll change it. Or I guess we had a rest, so it was 64th to the 65th. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was the next day. Yeah, the battle has ended. Things are quiet. What does the group want to do?
Well, we came here to run an errand.
We did. Would you mind throwing us on the local map?
Oh, right, yeah.
I think we would continue towards the vault.
Yeah, where did we see these guys? I think we saw them right at the intersection, right?
I think this is the room with the crystal that we can teleport with.
Well, right. So this down here is, and then I think we made our way up and around and then got to this T and saw them off to the left.
So you were trying to get to this location up here, which I think you were about to get to. So you can continue walking there. And then I'll just have you go to the next area, since you're right there anyway.
Could I use my once-a-day power to look over that wall that didn't quite look right when we came in? Do you remember the entrance there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. This one down here.
Which wall? Yeah,
was it down here or here maybe?
I thought... I don't recall. I think it's this one.
Do we want to do...
You're right. Yeah.
So, if you want to do that, we might do a little bit of exploring, because you might bump into something else. And actually, let me get you on the map here, because I don't think you're here. So
yeah, I had totally forgotten about that. If that's on the table, I think that's a great suggestion.
So if you want to move down to there and take a look, that's fine. We just have to manually have everyone walk down that way.
Does anyone else look like I know Sim's still pretty tired, but did anyone else get hit much during that fight?
You did.
I know I did. I was just debating whether to use the mass cure or not.
Beryl got
I'll
beat
say,
up a bit.
I'll save it. Yeah, I'll probably use a spell on myself, or let me see if I have a potion.
I'm a little wounded. I'll be all right.
Okay.
Most of us didn't get hit too hard, and we had temp HP going in.
Oh, I've got 2 potions of healing, so I'm going to use one of those.
I've been noticing there's been some bugging with people moving through dungeons. I've been considering using a party token to represent dungeon movement and just have people pulling their token out when they're wanting to be in a specific place, but I haven't implemented that yet. Just because
that might allow for this sort of. Yeah, there's been definitely some times where like the intention was to move as a group, but somebody was like typing or something like that, and then we started to fight like 60 feet apart. That would, allow for preventing that.
Yeah, I just I don't want to make I don't want to assume everyone's moving together, but I mean we kind of do that on overland maps anyway. So it might be a way to kind of track a little bit easier, like what's going on, rather than have all the tokens spread out and people kind of, doing their own thing. So it's just something to think about. If you guys want to try that out, we can maybe try doing like a group movement instead of individual tokens. That would make it easier for you all too, because you wouldn't have to worry about where your tokens were positioned all the time.
Yeah, and if you want to go herring off, you can always pull yourself back on and say you're splitting from the group. So
True.
Yeah.
I personally enjoy the personal agency and movement, but that's just my opinion.
All right, then we're going to use May June's token as let him move us.
Piggyback ride. Everyone hop
Everybody
on May June.
I'm not that strong.
Reed, give me a D20 roll real quick, actually.
Oh, dun.
Bum, bum.
Alright, so as you're walking down the hallway into that area, you had just come past here to move through, but you think you hear voices coming from somewhere over in this direction with your passive perception.
Is any Sim? I will whisper to Sim. Sim, can you send your spider around the corner?
I will nod, and you will see Tama scuttle out of your pouch and go around the corner. I don't actually have a token for it. I don't really know how to do that.
Well, if you don't have... Did I never make you a spider token?
Or if you did, I don't see it under minions/wild shapes. I'm not really sure where else it would be.
Yeah, I don't think we have the tiny one. Yeah, we don't have the tiny one. We have the big ones.
Yeah.
So, I guess,
I mean, I could just use any of the other tiny things just to use it as a token that has sight, but I mean, no, both of these have different vision.
Do you think you're going to be using the spider a lot? Because I could just make you one real quick. That might make it easier.
Oh, yeah,
Let me see.
I do not typically think to use the spider for scouting because I don't want it to get popped, but...
Alright, so...
if we're going to be doing that more often, then it would probably be good to have a token.
Alright, I'll pull a spider on. So spider... Does it have a name?
Emma. E-E-M-A.
Did you say E-E-M-A?
E-E-M-A.
Tango Echo Mike Alpha.
Man, I haven't done that since I was in dispatch.
Oh, nice. I've actually never done it. I only picked it up because of my work in automotive. Trying to hear people's VINs over the phone is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Alright, so I put an Emma at the top of the journal. The only thing is, I'm probably going to have to edit this token really quick, so let me do that.
Emma? I thought you said...
Yeah, it's a Tema. Here, let's see if I can edit it. I'll fix it. I can fix it.
T-E-M-A?
I have edit permissions, yeah.
T-E-M.
Gotcha. Alright. So...
There we go.
T-E-M-A. Alright. So... Now I just have to link that token with the joys of Roll20. Alright, so now see if you can pull Tema out and control her. You wouldn't have vision with her unless you look through her eyes, but yeah. Does that work? I'll put her into the summon area as well.
I think for this, especially just peeking around the corner, I would just lean against the wall and go blind and look through Tema's eyes.
Alright. So as Tema rounds the corner, you would actually hear the voices stop read as the rest of the group is sort of coming down the corridor. And as you look around the corner, you would see the Alhoon standing there. You don't know if it's the same Alhoon that you know, but it looks like he was talking to someone, but you only see him there. And as he's standing there, he's sort of looking down the hallway as if listening. But a moment later, he chants and would disappear. What do you want to do?
I want to cast my True Seeing.
Okay. Go ahead and link it.
Yep.
You said this is a once a day bit?
Yep. The Warlock high-level things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I know that one. Is that
Mystic Arcanum or whatever they call it.
Alright, so you...
I think that might be Witch Sight, even.
Is this True Seeing from a spell, or is this like something else you have?
It's the 6th level invocation. It's the 6th level spell that I can do once a day without using it.
Mystic Arcana. Yeah.
So, Reed does a bit of a chant as he channels energy, and you might see his eyes glow for a moment. Go ahead and add that to the spells affecting the group that are long-term, so you know how long that lasts.
Okay.
So you did use the 25 gold piece reagent?
Yes, yeah, I do have that from before. Let me take it off my sheet.
Yeah, you can also actually use arcane components to do that. You would just have to have them like in a little pouch on your side at the ready, so you could pull some like dust out and go poof as part of the spell.
Okay.
But if you had that ready, you could use that. All right, so what do you want to do?
I want to go down here and see if I can see any invisible creatures or secret doors.
So you do in fact see a portion of the wall here glowing.
That rope there on the cracks, we left that there, right? That's to cross them.
Yeah, that's sort of a brace you put against the wall so you can lean on the edges to move across.
That's right.
So you're going to investigate the wall where you see it glowing?
Yep.
All right, give me an investigation.
Okay. I don't think this is going to work out for me, but let's see. Oh, hey.
Beautiful.
All right, so you investigate the wall, and you find there are several buttons. It's hard to tell exactly how you're supposed to press them, but you would guess that pressing them in some kind of order might open a door here. There are 4 buttons. I'll just call them 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. Can anyone look for traps? Is anyone good at investigating?
Not as such, but if you will show me where the buttons are and then stand back, I can push buttons telekinetically.
I'm pretty good at investigating.
Yeah.
I think Beryl and Gamork both have like these tools expertise.
So you would also see that It looks like the buttons might be connected to some sort of magical trigger. You think that pushing the buttons in a incorrect manner might activate some kind of trap, whereas pushing them in the correct order might activate a secret door, the one that you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to relay this to the group and then back far away.
Which door is it? Which wall was it that we were investigating?
It's right there.
It's that one.
That one, okay.
So you could use Arcana to try to deactivate the trap, but in doing so, you'd also deactivate the secret door.
What about...
The other option could be just digging through the wall, because you assume it would be on the other side, but that would take a long time.
Beryl can move stones. Beryl was practicing spell this morning. She prepared stone shape.
Right.
Since we were going to the vault.
Yeah, remember I think it was 5 stone shapes is what you need to open the vault currently.
I thought was it 5 just to open? Okay.
I think that's what I said.
She didn't have that many skeleton stone shapes when we sealed it up, but I guess okay.
I thought she used her spells, then rested, then used more.
Maybe.
I thought that's what happened.
I didn't remember that. Okay, sure. That's what we were gonna do, but our plan was to open it, then rest, and then have the spells the next morning to close it. So I didn't realize that we were gonna have to rest more than once.
Well, you can use as many as you want to lock it again, but I think it was 5 to unlock it.
Okay. Well, when we locked it, when she put the stone on, she only had 3 stone shapes or something like that. So she's got more spell slots now, but at the time, I don't think she could have used 5 to seal it up. So I didn't realize that she was going to need that many to unseal it.
Well, what we had talked about was that she used her 3, then I think you all had rested the night, then she used more at the time.
Okay.
I believe, unless I'm misremembering that. Here, let me, and I'll mark that down just to make sure I have that in my notes here.
Now, I am no archaeologist, but is there anything particularly interesting about these buttons that would give us any sort of indication about which order to push them in? Like, are there any, letters or anything on them?
There's no marking, so you would guess it's just some kind of combination that whoever made the secret door either wrote down someplace or just remembered. Or committed to memory.
Yep, I'm gonna take a look and then go, yep, I don't fucking know.
Can I look around and see if there's any clues, like in this room or the hallway, that would shed light on it?
Yeah, so are you searching the room or the hallway?
The room first.
Alright, give me a perception check. As you start looking around. So with a 15, you start walking around the room, but you don't see anything within the first minute of looking around.
Okay.
What kind of roll would you require if we want to look around for signs that the spell traps for failure have gone off and what they do? Or have gone off in the past, if they've been
I mean, you could use
anything?
probably perception or investigation to check the area.
Okay. I would like to do that, because knowing what kind of traps are going on would be useful. Oh, right. Hardly ever have time for this. Sorry, that was guidance.
Brutal.
Oh.
Brutal.
No, that was my guidance die. Sorry.
+1.
You said perception or investigation?
Yeah.
Right. Those are the same roll for me.
Nice.
Let's give it a shot.
25.
So you are taking... are you still at disadvantage?
Oh, crud, I am. I totally forgot.
So unfortunately,
My bad.
you'd have to roll again.
Yep.
Oh,
20.
nice.
Still not
That's
bad.
off 20. It's off
So-
20 with the guidance.
Yeah,
Yep.
20. So you're looking around. You don't see any visible, like, scorch marks or anything that would lead you to believe there's, like, a big magical occurrence from setting off this trap. The one thing that you would note... And let me make a note of this. Do you have survival, by chance?
Oh, do I? Let's see. I do not.
Okay.
Beryl has high perception and survival, so she might be kind of watching the others investigate.
So the one thing you would note with your investigation is that some of the buttons seem to be a little bit more indented than the others.
I will pass this along, and my assumption that this means the combination requires certain buttons to be pressed multiple times.
Is it more magic or more mechanical? I'm kind of asking Reed and Sim because they've been looking at it, at the buttons.
So they would, well, I assume they'd tell you it looks like a combination of both magical and mechanical.
Maybe it's the the most pressed in button. You hit one, and then you hit one, or you hit one, and then two, and then one, and then two and three, and then one, and then two and three and four. Like, do you know what I mean? Like one of them you have to hit multiple times.
Beryl can try to, I don't know, disarm the mechanical parts.
Well, if you disarm it, it'll turn off the secret door. But if this is a thin wall, or if it's not too thick, you could probably use Stone Shape to just bypass it, if you want to use a spell.
Beryl could stone shape, Beryl could disarm, Beryl could punch buttons, Beryl could dispel magic.
Yeah, Beryl,
I think-
if you could just kind of stone shape the floor and make like a little tunnel we could squeeze through or something.
That
Yeah,
seems
if,
like
if,
maybe
if
the
wall
safest
is
route,
bigger,
yeah.
if wall is bigger than 5 feet, Beryl maybe not work, but Beryl can try.
I vote in favor of Stone Shape.
Alright, where are you casting Stone Shape, and what exactly are you shaping it into?
I am moving the 5 cubic feet of the 5 by 5 whatever part of stone in this wall right here. I'm moving it so that it moves like
So
out.
kind of where the
Like,
buttons are, you're just
yeah. So it's
moving.
gonna some of it's gonna kind of come towards us and kind of come out onto the
Alright, so you're gonna...
the wall here and the wall here. You
Yeah.
know, to open it up, yeah. And some of it might go into the other side if I can push it in, yeah.
Alright, so you're basically opening up the wall where the buttons are, as if there was a door
Yeah.
there.
Like a little 5-foot tunnel, yeah.
Alright, so you begin chanting. Go ahead and link Stone Shape.
It's up there, like a couple up in the chat, but I can find it again. Hang on.
Beryl channels magical energy as she begins to affect the stone within the wall. You see it moving aside, peeling back as if it was just normal rock. Let me check something. As she does this, there is a crackle of arcane energy, which then turns into a large explosion.
Of course.
As the magic is chaotically released into the area from destroying the wall. So it goes out about 15 feet. So the three of you, I need deck saves.
The three of who, sorry? Myself?
Beryl, Gamork, and Meijun.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
I
no.
assumed it would be straightforward. Is this as you said, it's a deck save?
Yes.
Can I see this coming?
Oh yes, as Beryl is pulling the wall apart, there is just a explosion of energy. Doesn't seem like a very powerful effect, luckily. So the arcane energy crackles in the area, doing 13 force damage or 6 if you made it.
What is the DC?
Oh, sorry, the DC is 14.
Delightful.
but it is successful.
Beryl looks like one of those cartoon characters where they've just like been in a fire and they're all black and crispy and blinking, like blink, blink.
Yeah. Inside, you see a small open area with some cracks in the floor at the very front. Other than that, this area seems empty.
I'm gonna cast levitate on myself and just kind of glide into the room.
Remember that the hole is only 5 feet tall.
Oh.
You could probably get through it more gracefully with levitate than crawling or ducking, but...
So, you would notice that certain areas in here look like they've left indents in the dust, as if there were things in here up until recently, but for whatever reason, they are no longer here. Reed, with your spell going, which is the True Seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
With True Seeing going, you would see a section of the floor over here glowing.
Oh, man. I'm gonna sneak in behind Reed with my boots activated. Yep.
And does it look like a
I guess it
false
would be
door, or-
identified as a secret door by your spell. Investigation of the area could tell you more about how to activate it.
Okay.
I will helpfully cast Prestidigitation on Beryl a bunch to clean her off.
She's looking actually pretty bad, you guys.
I will.
Oh, I can do something about that too. Probably.
Well, she's got. I've got more spell slots, but
Beryl, are
just
you
so you
okay?
know, if
I'm
we
gonna
do
guide myself
encounter,
here.
yeah,
She's
she's
gotta-
kind of leaning against the wall and kind of coughing.
She's got a couple of pretty wicked
Oh, didn't help.
Guandao flashes.
So Reed, taking a look, it looks like it should be some kind of trapdoor, but there's no obvious way to open it.
Oh my gosh, Mayjune, you just I totally couldn't remember what the details of the damage she'd taken because I was like I don't remember the mind flayers hitting her, but now I remember it's because you were possessed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure one of those was maxed too.
Yeah, it was
Wait.
pretty harsh.
Alright. So Sim, you chant casting Cure Wounds,
Yep.
healing
Nice.
her for
Oh,
33
holy wow.
with a 5th level spell slot.
Thank you. I was saving my higher spells for stun
Also-
shape. That makes a big difference.
I don't
Yep.
think you're stunned anymore, Sim, so you could probably take the stun Sim.
Oh,
if you want.
yeah. All right.
Just
And she is
walking
now
around.
just over half. Yay.
So I'm gonna point to the section on the floor and see if anyone else wants to give a try on how to open up this secret trapdoor. Mayjune, you want to give it a shot, or?
Oh, I was 100% joking when I said I'm good at investigating things. I don't know anything about trapdoors. I wish I did.
Investigate trapdoor.
I will,
mean, if
cast, I will cast guidance on Beryl.
Yeah. I mean, just like the mechanical parts of it, I assume she would kind of be able to peer at because of the thieves' tools training, right? Which I think you have thieves' tools, don't you? Or am I misremembering?
I don't know.
Actually, I think I gave you the Masterwork thieves' tool.
Then yes, I have some.
So I mean, I don't know if you want to give it a try.
Sure.
Well, it would be more investigation than using thieves' tools. It would just be figuring out
okay.
how to open it.
She's not great at that.
Oh.
Yeah. She's
Not
perceptive, but not
proficient, but I've
investigate.
got +1. I'm not super awesome at it.
I've got a +5, but you probably don't want me rolling with disadvantage repeatedly. Can offer guidance to whoever wants it.
Well, Barrel's negative investigation, so Gumlark, you go unless someone else has more than the +1.
Yeah, I think Sim has the +5, but he does have the exhaustion right now.
Yep.
So, either way, whoever wants to take a look.
Right,
Reed-
I'll give it a shot here. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Reed took a look, but he has not seen anything, or was unable to figure it out. So go ahead and give me investigation.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so Sim casts guidance on Gamork.
So is that an 18 then?
Yep.
Yes. So with
Nice.
an 18, you take a close look at it, and you find a spot where it looks like you can kind of put your hands in, where it pries up. But when you try to open it, it feels like it's stuck. You might need a strength check to pry it open.
Where is that? Oh, there it is.
Luckily, Gamork is super buff.
Hey.
So yeah, you
Yes.
yank at it a few times, making some noise, and finally the trapdoor pops open. Underneath, you would see a small chest that looks like it is locked with a small padlock. Doesn't look too beefy, but yeah, it's probably about 2 feet by 2 feet or so. In this little alcove underneath the floor.
Is it glowing as well, or is it just locked?
It looks like it's just locked.
Okay.
There's a small padlock on the front of it.
Guess let me double check and make sure I've got the. I do have thieves' tools.
Alright, so you have training in thieves' tools.
Yes.
Alright, so if you want, you can try to pick it open. Are you pulling the chest out of the alcove in the floor?
Yes.
Alright, so yeah, you lift it out. It's not that heavy. And it does feel like, well, it sounds like there's something glass rolling around inside it.
Okay.
Alright, so you carefully kind of bend over and go to work, and it's not too hard. You are able to pick it open, and the padlock kind of clicks and falls off.
Right. Do I see anything special, or do I need to roll investigation to look at it, or perception, or?
Well, do you want to open the chest?
Oh yeah, I want to open it.
Alright, so you undo the latch, flipping it open. Inside, you see 3 potions laying on a bunch of really old-looking pieces of paper.
Can I read anything on the paper?
Alright, so you kind of move the potions aside and start pulling out some of these pieces of paper. It seems like some instructions hastily jotted down. They might be formulas for potions.
Ooh.
As you see, just a bunch of weird alchemical writing on it for different ingredients and how to heat them up and mix them together.
It's Weird Al's Chemicals?
Weird Al's chemicals.
I will defer to magic casters or people that can make / brew alchemy stuff and see if they can make heads or tails of this.
Hey, Beryl, you want to come here and take a look at these things?
Beryl will kind of peek in the little door.
Okay. Beryl can read, right?
Beryl cannot read.
Oh, well. May probably make it tougher then.
So she's probably looking at the potions, not at the papers.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Beryl has no idea what these pieces of paper say.
I'll take the papers, and if we have time, I'll ritually cast comprehend languages and see if.
Oh well, you can definitely read them. Read. They're written
okay.
in common. Just Beryl. I assume she said she can't read, right?
Yeah, in the past, Miss Wren has actually read potion recipes out to Beryl. And I think technically we said that Miss Wren has been teaching Beryl like a few words and letters, and she can write her name now. We just haven't role played very much of it, so I don't know how far along she is.
Have you recorded that as a project that you're doing?
No, we've mentioned it like a couple times, but we really just haven't done it with regularity, so I don't think we've racked up much time.
So if you want to devote days to that, it would probably be as much as learning a language, which I think is like 200 and something days. I have to look it up in the.
That's fine. She knows how to scrawl out her name and has learned a few letters. It's really more just flavor roleplay. I wasn't actually planning on her becoming a fine writer.
Yeah, but learning how to read could be a valuable resource to her, especially if she's an alchemist.
So I just have to mention it like during downtime or rests and then record it.
You don't have to. You have to mention it just as days pass. For that, I probably wouldn't even make you devote days to it. As long as you're with someone in the group who could teach you to read. You could say during the rests at night they're teaching you. So just record how many days have passed.
And would that take away our time to do any other downtime activities? Or would it just kind of be simultaneous while we're traveling and working together?
So, if you wanted to do it during actual downtime, it would, but I would say for this particular thing, it's easy enough to do while you're questing. So you don't have to use it for downtime.
Okay. I'll start a resource box and just kind of count on it.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That's fine. Yeah, Beryl will take a look at the potions just from her herbalism and alchemy knowledge, see if these are familiar smells and looks and stuff. Otherwise, she'll hand them to Reed to identify later.
So Reed, just really quick, if you looked at the papers, the potion recipes are a potion of necrotic resistance, potion of cold resistance, and potion of hill giant strength. Are the three recipes.
Oh, I think the hill giant strength might be new. Because I know she had the resistance ones before, but not... I don't know about the hill giant strength one.
But yeah.
You said one of the potions in this box is a hill giant strength?
No, those are the
we have the
formulas.
Recipe now. We have the recipe now.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Meijun starts, it's like a little bit of a...
You juicing, bro?
He's like,
I'm
what?
about to be.
He starts sniffing. What? Hill giant strength.
Yeah, I figured you'd be excited about that one.
Fuck me.
I think
No more.
I think Beryl has already memorized the resistance ones, but...
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure what recipes Beryl already had, but those are the recipes in here.
She's found a couple different books, and you said that she now knows all the common and uncommon. So I think I think the hill giant strength might be rare. So that would be a new one for us.
I believe so.
Okay. Well,
it's either rare or uncommon.
Yeah,
I think hill giant might be the only one that's uncommon. I think after that.
Oh, you're right. Hill giant strength is uncommon. So technically, she should know how to make that already.
You shit me, bro.
Anna, well, we don't have the ingredients, I don't think, but also, I mean, Anna Kate copied out all of those potions from Chiron's library, and even though Beryl can't read them, she is carrying the parchments with them written on them.
Yeah, Meijun's about to be doping.
I guess we're on the lookout for some giant toenails. I guess.
Well, if you have the components you need, you don't actually need the giant toenails. You just need the time and the access to a lab. Now that I'm using Natasha's rules. Okay. So other than that, there's the 3 potions there.
Cool. Do we recognize the potions? Are they familiar?
So how would you identify them?
Herbalism and alchemy?
Give me...
I have herbalism trained if I can help her.
Possibly.
That's how I was helping her with the potion recipes before. So I have herbalism, but not alchemy.
So give me I'll just generate these. Give me 3d10 rolls.
One of them is going to be a potion that's very cold. with
Or
a fingernail in it.
Yes, you are hoping, aren't you? Crossing all your digits.
I mean, I have one already, but you can't have too many of
No,
those.
yeah.
How long do they last?
An hour.
I think an hour, yeah, they're really long.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
definitely. That's like some pre-game shit right there.
It's so much better than like the 1-minute spells or the 10-minute spells.
Oh, the strength ones? Yeah, those are nice. Okay. And the third roll was an 8. Alright, so you can identify 2 of them with your herbalism. Throwing in a couple of leaves, you figure out that the first 2 are normal potions of healing.
Okay. I will hand the other one to Reed because I assume he'll be able to identify it later.
And the third one, you're not sure what it is. It's not a healing potion, that's all you know.
Okay. So what's next?
I think perhaps going to the vault.
Alright, so you want to head
Oh, wait.
back to
Oh,
the...
hold up. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that was the trapdoor. Never mind. Yep.
Alright, so you're going to head back to the vault. We don't have to walk there. Give me a d20 roll. I just had you guys walk here.
Ooh.
16, or yeah, give me a d20 roll.
Nice.
Alright.
Everybody leveled up.
You are able to navigate the halls. You don't encounter any more awoken. And...
Sim, have you been in those halls before? I don't remember if you had or not.
Nope.
Okay.
That's why I was moving my token around to try to do some looking around.
Yeah. I think we had loosely determined that we had sort of filled you in on everything that we had encountered before you. Those halls specifically are home to not Alhoon necessarily, but actual mind flayers.
Okay.
Yeah, the ghost mind flayers.
Yes, I forget they are ghosts, actually. They seem to be stuck in loops, but the ones that notice you will try to fuck your day up.
The awakened ones attack. Alright, so you return to the vault area. There's not none of these dudes are here anymore. But yeah, it seems to be empty for the time being. What do you want to do?
Those corpses with their heads exploded still here?
Yes, the bodies are still here.
No?
Nothing has come to retrieve them. It might actually be... Well, it's been a day since you've been here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 2?
So
no,
maybe
it's just 1. No, it's just 1, yeah.
It might be starting to get a little stinky here with the corpses.
Isn't it really cold?
Is it cold here?
I thought you said it was cold down here once, but I could be wrong.
I mean, it's not warm. It's a underground chamber, so it's probably...
Gotcha.
It's probably, yeah, somewhat cold.
So when we sealed up the vault doors, we covered them in stone for the purpose of kind of making the doors hard to find and possibly harder for people to get into. What if I only move the stone on, like, 1 5-foot section and not taking all the stone off that we've tried to cover the full doors?
Will we be able to get a pylon out that way, or whatever we need?
Well, we're gonna use the spell to... Oh, wait, that was a levitation spell. It wasn't a strength spell. Never mind. So we would need space to move it, wouldn't we?
Isn't it like a floating disc, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you would need to open the vault doors, which would require the stone shapes to basically move all the stone out of the way to give you access.
Well, I also have Enlarge Reduced, and that's a much lower level spell than Stone Shape, so I would have plenty left.
Just put a pylon in your pocket.
That only lasts a short while, though, doesn't it?
I know, but we'd be able to get it out of the vault with that.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Clever conservation.
Put a pylon in your pocket.
Because if I'm not taking all the... If I used 5 stone-shaped spells to cover the door and like camouflage the door all over with stone, But to get back in, I'm only changing a small portion of that, like half of one door, or just one door instead of the both doors, or something like that. Would we be able to get in with fewer stone-shaped spells and then use enlarge reduce to get the pillar out?
Well, the stone shape isn't necessarily to hide the door. It's more to move the stone so the door can't swing open.
Okay.
So you to open the door, you'd have to move those areas of stone out of the way to allow the door to open at all.
Okay.
It was my understanding. To hide the door would be probably much harder because it's a huge door, and the stone shape only affects like 5 feet at a time.
Right. That's what we described when we were doing it, but that's fine. So how many to get in? You said 5?
Yeah, I believe it was set at 5.
All right. I have only 3 now because we used one already. So.
All right.
So we'll just have to do 3 casts and then rest.
Spend
so
the
we
day.
have lots of downtime. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, luckily it's a couple of days still to the until the summit.
Okay, so she gets to work on over there, shaping some stone for a little while.
Yeah, so you spend the 3 spells to move some of the stone out of the way. And at that point, the group is going to just pass time here as you wait for your magic to recharge. Right?
Sure.
All right. So, give me a d20 roll. Let's see if anything happens.
Oh, is it me again?
Whoever wishes.
Yeah.
Or
who wants to be the designated roller of fate?
Or I could tell the Twitch people to roll. Although there's a bit of a delay, so I don't think they even hear me for a couple of, well, I don't know how long, but all right, 9. So time is passing. Does anyone want to do any specific downtime activities while we're waiting here? I'm not sure how many you have projects you can work on while down here, but there is actually still a decent amount of time in the day to work on things.
Well, you said for the change in crafting rules means that would I have enough time to craft to brew, to do alchemy?
Probably not, because you generally would need a full day even for a common, so probably not.
Yeah.
But you can do your reading thing. You can devote the rest of the day towards that.
I'm gonna roll some hit dice.
Okay, yeah, we can pass enough time for a short rest.
That's fair. Am I down anything? Oh shit, I am. Yeah, I'm gonna do so as well. Actually, I don't need to roll any, but I'll take a short rest.
Anyone who's going to take a short rest, remember your temp HP.
Do you get that on a short rest or just on a long?
Yep, every rest.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. The temp HP totally absorbed that trap for me. Thank you.
I would actually be preparing the bodies of the Shadowlord, including the one in the pit, if I can retrieve it somehow, to give them a little more dignity and death, despite exploded heads. So if we have anything to shroud them with, I'd do it. Prestidigitation to clean them off.
Can you link the temp HP ability that you're using?
Absolutely.
Frickin' Celestials.
What did I do?
I see what you did there. Sorry to offend.
Oh, how many hit points is it?
It's 9 for everyone who's not me. I get 14.
Okay.
Oh, wild.
Yep,
yeah, it's half your warlock level plus charisma for everyone else.
Yep.
And why do you get? Oh, because it's your full level, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Dope. Fucking Celestials.
Alright, so time passes. Go ahead and spend food to nourish yourself.
Cast Goodberry.
One thing that I would be interested in doing, I don't know if this is, it may not pan out because I had tried it before and nothing took, but as long as we're taking the time to rejuvenate here, I would like to lay out my bedroll with the Guandao splayed across it in a traditional meditation type pose and see if I'm able to reach out to Xanthanor, just to see if he or they has any sort of connection to the Shadowfell as a result of the gate that was cast here. I think last time I tried, they
I'm
did
going to
not
start
say
with
anything.
Barrel's thing real quick.
Sure.
So you're doing Goodberry. When are you casting that?
What time is it now? At the end of the short rest, I guess, or whenever we're hungry, whenever it makes sense.
So when do you usually do your watch?
Barrel's watch. Let me look here.
So the best times to do it would either be before the. I mean, I guess you could do it at the short rest if you want.
Barrel is night watch, the middle watch.
So you could use the spell slot during night watch to make them, or you could do it now. I mean, really, just as long as you're not doing it when you're sleeping. So the latest you could do it would be night watch, probably.
No, she would do it before. She would do it before we all go to bed, so we can all.
Okay, so during.
Yeah, so she'll only have 16 hours on the remaining good berries when we wake up. All
right, so you make 10 of them. You give 6 to the party, and you have 4 that will last, which you can put on the effects table up there, so you know when they'll last till.
I don't know Warforged that well. They don't need food?
I don't think
Nimble
Warforged... Warforged
correct.
don't, yeah.
And I don't think Lyra or Melody came with us.
No, yeah, Warforged do not need food or water or sleep, technically. They have to have... they need a recharge, but they're still awake for it.
Alright, and Mei June, you said you're laying out the Guandao and attempting to talk to it again?
Yeah, we'll see if it takes.
Give me... So you hold the Guandao concentrating, attempting to, once again, reach out to the consciousness within. Give me probably a charisma check.
All good things. Do I have... Sure don't.
Alright.
Yeah, okay.
So you attempt to connect with the weapon, but it seems like either it's rejecting you or it's just not interested.
Is it possible for me to tell which it is?
Well, last it said to contact it once you got to the Shadowfell. So
it did. It did say that, and then there was the whole Malik thing where it made a surprising presence in the whole when we were stuck in that crystal. It was there, and so I wasn't sure if that had kind of opened its eyes to the situation. But you're right. The last time that we actually had a chat, it was like, yeah, don't fucking bother me until we're there. So if I'm not picking up anything, I'm not picking up anything.
Yeah, you would guess it might want to, it might be, if it's mad at you, but it might still be waiting it out for you to get there.
Sure.
Holding out, I guess, would be the word.
Cool. All right, very well.
All right, so the night passes, no issues. It is now the 66th of autumn. So go ahead and pass a full rest, regain hit dice, all that. 7 a.m., what do you all want to do?
Errol will go use 2 more spell slots on Stone Shape to get through the door.
Alright, so the vault would open, revealing what you had left behind there. And I assume you're grabbing one of the hollow points?
Yep.
Alright, so you use the whatever it's called,
floating disc.
The floating,
hand truck?
Yeah, the floating magic hand truck to lift up the stone pillar that is at least partially stone, the hollow point, and you would pull it out of the vault.
It is, at least in some ways, kind of annoying, because you cannot actually command its movement, it just follows you. I have to walk way ahead of where it is.
It just, it's like a Oh man, I had something for this. I lost it immediately. It's like a tether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so
That's
you pull it.
fucking funny.
You pull it out of the vault. What else did you have in the vault? Do you have notes on that?
Yes, I do. It's in the inventory. Let me find it for you.
Always wondered, could you use floating disc if somebody was in like heavy armor and had like horrible stealth skills, and you just had them sit on a floating disc?
I mean, for sound, yes. Although for actually hiding them, that wouldn't do much good.
Yeah, if you're worried about sound carrying, you could diminish it certainly, but it's not like they wouldn't jangle.
We mostly emptied the vault. It currently contains the teleportation doorway, the shadow crystal, one of the mobile hollow points we set up in here. We could have teleported in here, guys. We set up one of the hollow points in here.
This is the second time that we have come down here by foot.
Well, you set one of them up out in the room here, I thought. Did you set one up inside the vault too?
Right.
I didn't think so.
You're right.
Oh wait, no, you're right.
Outside. You're right.
We set it out here because we didn't want people to be able to yeet themselves.
That's right. So we still had to open the vault door. Okay, all right. So we have the used hollow point that's set up here, and there's a shadow crystal powering it. Maybe we should take that with us, guys.
No, Lou told us that crystal was gone when we saw Relic here.
Oh, gotcha.
The one we set up was already lifted.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
I'll take that.
so there's one. There's one in the vault so in the vault there is a ring with like many runes or recesses for crystals, and we put one in there.
We put the big one in there.
Yes, and then it was immediately absorbed into it and did not fully engage the circle, which in hindsight was like, yeah, okay, it probably needs more juice. But the one out here, yeah, that's gone.
It's gone. All right, so let me remove the one that's out here. I had that marked as still powering. So we have the mobile hollow point that's been set up outside the door, and we have the teleportation doorway inside. And then there were 2 unused mobile hollow points, which we're now taking one of them.
All right, so there's just the...
That's it. We cleaned everything else out.
So there's the big hollow point still in there and the one mobile hollow point, and that's it?
If by big hollow point you mean the doorway thing. I thought it looked different, but yeah.
Yeah, the gate that's set into the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there's only the one hollow point left in there. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you took everything else. I just want to double check. Because I know that it started off with a bunch more stuff in there. Okay.
And I've removed the crystals because I had it noted that both the crystals were still here. The big one in the teleportation door and the smaller one in the hollow point that we set up, but it sounds like they're both gone.
Yeah, so the larger, or the, I don't want to call it large hollow point. What would I call it?
You called it doorway before, I think. Now you said gate as well.
Well, I know what it's called, but I don't want to... If I said what it's called, that would give away something.
Is it like the Stargate? Can we call it a Stargate?
Stargate hollow point.
You said it's set into the floor? Just call it the emplacement for now, then. It's emplaced.
Immobile hollow point.
The anchor.
Stargate.
Actually, I was going to say, if it is called the anchor, I think you might have said it before. But I could just be making shit up.
Well, we did say that we think that this doorway is... I don't remember how we learned this, if it was somebody's Arcana check or history check or what. But I have notes here that may lead to Elven First City.
Yeah, correct. We are pretty fucking... I mean, and that jives with the reason that Malik wasn't in here in the first place, is because that's how you get there.
Right. So I'll just
pretty convinced that
put
that's
it
what
down as what I call it here, the Night Weather hollow point.
Okay, I'll put that in.
All right.
And Nightweather is the name of that city, allegedly.
Allegedly,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we knew that too.
Yep.
All right. So you get this one, you drag it out on your floating disc, and you sealing the door again.
I have 2
stone shapes.
Let me see here. Yeah, I have 2 more stone shapes. My level 4 and 5 slots. So I will begin to reseal the door.
Okay, so you use... I'll mark that down, that you use 2 stone shapes to seal it. Anything else you're using to seal it?
Well, I think we were going to spend the night till we get it resealed.
Okay. So you want to spend another night here? That would cost a day, so you could do some actual downtime stuff if you're spending the whole day here for downtime.
Can I brew a potion?
I think I would.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say. I think I would be pretty bored and would snoop around outside.
Explore.
Yeah, if anyone wanted to go with me, but I can't
I want to
imagine.
go.
I can't imagine that Anna Kate would be comfortable staying there for another day without doing something.
Losing your mind. Yeah, I would say that if you're looking for a reason to, well, not looking for a reason, if you're going out there and there's things to be seen, I would go with you.
Yeah, when we were planning this, when we were in Chiron's library planning this, we anticipated that Beryl would have enough spell slots to open it, then we sleep, and spell slots to close it, and then we leave. We did not know that it was going to take 5 in and 5 out.
Well, you can use as many as you want. You don't have to use 5. It's just the more you use.
But I think we do want to make sure that the vault is
right.
as well sealed as we can make it, don't we, guys? Or, I mean, am I the only one here?
Sounds right.
So a couple of things. First of all, to answer your question, Beryl, with a day you could make a common potion with your, especially with your herbalism things. You could do a common healing potion, and you could do some exploring. But Nimble would ask, what is it that is so important in this vault that must be protected from Malik and his people?
Well, I assume he would have gone in with us when we went in to get the hollow point, so he probably saw.
Yeah, but he wouldn't necessarily know what that is.
Yeah, we didn't tell him anything.
Right, but I imagine we might want to now RP. There probably would have been questions and maybe even a conversation. So how much would we have told him?
Well, that's
what he's asking
yeah,
now.
that's kind of what he's asking now.
That's what he's asking.
Sorry.
Sim's individual answer would be, I can tell you exactly as much as I know, which is that the Shadowlord desires access to it, and it is probably good to oppose his plans. Rest of tribe members may know more, but I do not need to know more than this.
Oh, I was curious. He says, what powers that any of these things hold that a Shadowlord would want?
Yeah, I would say most of it is beyond our knowledge.
Yes, he wanted to use it to access a city that is. I don't understand fully what happened to it, but it seemed like it was going to cause a lot of destruction and death to people in this world. So that's why we stopped him, and I would have to assume that his people are trying to continue his work. I don't know if he is already resurrected in the Shadowfell and can come back himself, or what has happened to him, but it seems to us that they want to get in there to access whatever this city is.
Is this
theoretically? He thinks that he can stop the cataclysms if he goes there, but in order to make that happen, he has to sacrifice many more thousands of lives, and there's no guarantee it's even going to work.
Yes, and Shadowlord says it does not matter how many lives cost if Shadowlord can achieve what he wants.
So Nimble remains quiet for a moment of thinking. He says, so the Shadowlord feels that something about this city would bring him the knowledge to stop the cataclysms?
That is what he told us.
I think if Beryl remembers correctly, Lyra found some text on this city, didn't Lyra find it at one point?
Well, we know that it exists, and we know that it is apparently the first human city, but I think that's all we really know about it, other than
Elven City.
Told us.
Elven City.
It is actually the first human city. Yeah.
Oh, human!
I was
gosh, all my notes
pretty
had
sure
Elven.
it is.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, all my notes, I thought we were looking at an Elven City. I think that Lyra told us, or maybe I'm mistaken, maybe Malik told us this, or someone else got this on a history check or something, but I think that we were told that this city has always escaped the cataclysms. It's never gone through any of the cataclysms, so its technology has never been set back every few thousand years, and it's like supposed to probably expected to be highly advanced and stuff like that is, I think, the value that we were told.
That does not sound familiar to me at all.
Really? Oh, okay. So Lou, do we know that it? I could have sworn that someone said that it's rumored that this city doesn't have cataclysms. I thought that was part of the lore. I apologize.
So I don't know how much I've told you, so I can't necessarily confirm nor deny that.
See, I write these things down when we're told, but then sometimes later I end up like I had it down as an elven city, so I don't know.
Yeah,
certainly some implication of immense value if it's actually the first city.
Yeah, it is we know that it's the first city, and we know that it exists outside of the conditions of the cataclysms. Whether or not it has advanced technologies, I personally don't know.
No. No, what you're saying is exactly what I meant. I was saying that because it hasn't had the cataclysms, then it hasn't had the setbacks of Gaian that Gaian has had. I didn't mean that we had received specific information about its technology. It's an assumption that learning and knowledge haven't been lost repeatedly like they have here, and that would be valuable. Yeah.
You could guess that, but we've not been told that. That's correct.
Right.
How would such a place be free of the cataclysms? I wonder if it exists underground, like the other place is untouched. Well, if you wish it defended, while shaping the stone around it would make it harder to break into, picks and time could still get through that. Maybe the Warforged can set up a more permanent base here to help defend it. I could speak with Demi Prime, and maybe we could get some of our soldiers down here.
Yeah, the hollow point's already set up here, so it'd be easy for you to travel here. Except this one's no longer powered.
Does Nimble seem earnest in his intention to help, or do I think that he's like...
give me a insight. Seems
Fuck.
like it.
Sure it does.
You don't detect any trickery from him. Nimble always seems earnest, though.
That's true. He's a nice guy.
He's like a
real golden retriever.
He's like a little puppy, yeah. Hey guys, how can I help?
Right.
Dark golden retriever.
Beryl thinks that Warforged better than Shadowlord's Guardian Bolt or Shadar Kai.
He nods. He says, it seems like there are only 2 entry points. I mean, we could probably set up some kind of gate in the cave entrance and in the front door, and have a platoon here at Demi's command. And they could probably keep people from getting in. If you worry about the Shadar Kai re-entering this place. And
I mean, that seems like a pretty good suggestion to me. At the very least, we're going to... having a couple dozen dudes down here is going to prevent them from trying to sneak about. And I think that, between 20 of you, I think you could do a number on a small unit of Shadar Kai.
Yeah, like that last group of Shadar Kai that showed up was 7, 8 with the leader, so...
That's true. Half of them, though, were
peons.
Well, I was going to say half of them were peons and half of them were shadow dancers. Nimble, do you think that you were able to observe enough about their style to be able to instruct your proposed platoon on how to defend against them?
He says, well, our Warforged warriors, as with any beings, have different levels of skill, depending on how much training they've had. So some of our more veteran warriors would probably fare better than our rank and file soldiers. But so Sim, you don't really get much. Anna Kate, you kind of sense there's a bit of an excitement when he talks. You wonder if it would somehow gain the Warforged power as well to have people down here. Whether or not that's a bad thing is up to you, but yeah. Like maybe they would use the positioning for maybe gaining some knowledge of these portals or something.
And
All
as
right,
far as
I would-
sentries go, robots that don't sleep or eat is pretty ideal.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
He says,
Barrow likes this plan. If Tribe is voting.
he says, I just
Barrow
thought
thinks
I'd
good.
mention it. Of course, it is up to you what you all think is best, but
I'll just ask him. I'll say, it seems like you are eager for this plan. Is there some benefit you would get out of this?
give me a persuasion check.
No, well, I'm good at persuasion.
Cursed words. Hey!
You are today.
Fuck hey!
So he would say, well, there is certainly knowledge to be gained from our arcanists maybe studying some of these runes and portals, but I don't know how much power that would translate to.
Okay, well, that sounds like a good plan to me then.
He nods. He says, I don't suppose we have a power source to power this hollow point, making our journey back to the church much easier.
Barrel looks around for someone else to take the lead on answering this, because most of the tribe, possibly not Gamork or Sim, may or may not know that we do still have a shadow crystal. But if we leave it here, it might get taken too, just like the last one.
Yeah.
Well, not if they send their Warforged back to guard the area.
If they came back immediately, then I guess, yeah. But I think Beryl would ask, actually, before answering, Beryl would ask Nimble, like, but Warforged have, hollow point of their own. How did you power the points yourself in the past?
He says the point was unpowered until you brought a power source.
Oh, that's right. We did leave one there. Ah, okay. So, I mean, I don't know.
The ancient technology of the hollow points is... even the dwarves back in the day did not have a way to power it. It was just kind of there. Only the introduction of the shadow crystals were we able to reactivate these ancient hollow points.
But Lyra said there used to be better crystals, not like shadow crystals, but crystals that not need people die to make, but nobody knows how to make anymore, that the dwarves used long ago.
This is the arcane crystals, yes. The dwarves had access to them, yes.
All right,
once the dwarves were driven out of the area, we no longer had that ability.
So, guys, we could, tribe left crystal in, in Alcavian labs, and crystal in tribe left crystal several places. Maybe tribe should collect so that they not taken and can be reused. We have a crystal powering the Alcavian labs. We have one in the halls of Tarsus. We have the one in the vaults of Kaltaris. We had the one here that looks like it's been taken, and we don't know if those other ones have been taken or not.
So could we use Sim's spell that he copied off the scroll to, like... Is it a teleportation circle spell, or...?
That's the floating disc spell.
Oh.
Oh, and Sim, you said you collected the bodies of the fallen Shatterkai, is that right?
Well, I'd at least like to lay them out in, like, not just sprawled where they fell, yeah.
Okay.
Clean them up a little, lay them out, close their eyes if they still have heads, that kind of thing.
I was gonna say, I think that might be something, time...
Reed exploded their heads. Sorry.
Yeah, I think he exploded all of them. Yeah, time permitting, with our various downtime activities, I'd like to help Sim with that if we can. I think that'd be a good little act of solidarity there.
I surely needed help getting that third body out of the pit. Same is not strong.
Yeah,
You can use the disc.
I've got guns.
You had a day, so yeah, maybe
Yeah.
you all work together, tie a rope, and just haul it out.
Yep.
Lou June was doping when he went down to the pit.
Make me one of those giant strength potions.
I got off the body out of a hole. Give me some juice.
Juicing up.
Does guidance count? That makes you a little stronger, kind of.
A little bit, yeah. All right, yeah. So, what does everyone want to do?
Okay, so tribe huddle, and
Nimble, stay over there.
do
No
we
reason.
Do we want to spend another day to keep stealing the vault, or do we want to head back with Nimble now and with the intention of immediately having Warforged return? And does Tribe want to give Tribe's last Shadow Crystal to them for powering the thing?
I mean, I think as long as there's going to be a platoon of them down here, I think there's very little chance of it getting absconded. So it certainly would make travel in and out of the area much easier.
Okay. Barrel's fine with this plan. Just wanted to make sure everyone was on board before Barrel informed Nimble that we have one.
Yeah, did this group have an arcane crystal?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
We had one, yeah.
You did have one?
We did?
Yeah, we dug it up. It was cracked, and then Beryl mended it, and then we put it in
those are the shadow
Alcavian.
crystals.
Yeah,
we had one that was not a shadow crystal.
Because there is
I think
one.
I vaguely remember seeing one in the inventory.
There is one somewhere in the storyline, but not everyone finds it. So I was just curious if this group found it, because I was looking through my notes and I didn't see it. But
I mean, Reed seems pretty convinced, so I believe him.
Right before the Alcavian labs, there was like a dig site, and we dug up a crystal. It was cracked and
okay, you did find it.
Bleeding out.
Yeah, that's where it was. All right, so.
So then, which one of the ones that we've collected then is that? Would be my next question.
Because
we might have
used the Alcavian labs.
Oh, okay.
Hollow Point.
Gotcha. Okay. I had that as a shadow crystal, so I will change that in the inventory.
Alright, because there was only a set number of them, and no one knows how to make arcane crystals anymore. The shadow crystals, the Shadowlords know how to make the soul crystals, but the arcane ones, there's no way of making them, as far as anyone knows.
I remember playing with some groups that encountered them, that encountered at least the one, and at the time that I encountered it, because they were not my main groups, at the time that they encountered it, it was new to me. So I thought that this group had not encountered it, but it sounds like Reed remembers it.
Okay. So is that what you're doing then? Powering the teleporter and heading to the cathedral?
Yeah, it'll we've already wasted 2 days here, so we might as well.
Wasted? No,
well, not wasted. I'm sorry. We've spent 2 days.
Well, we only spent the one night.
No, it's only been one night, so.
Yeah, because Nimble started talking to us before we passed the second day.
Logistical question. Will the teleporter carry a floating disc with this mobile hollow point on it? Because if not, we still need to walk it back to Chiron's library before going anywhere else.
You haven't tried it yet, so.
Oh, good. Well, I guess if we teleport, we can always come back if it doesn't move.
Unless it gets lost in space somewhere.
God.
Alright, so you're going to power the pedestal here?
Sounds that way.
Yep.
Alright, so you put the crystal inside. The top would light up, and you would see a demi appear. Hello. I don't know if you've powered this before, so you might not know. You might not have known what to expect.
We did power it once because we had a crystal in here when we came down here, and the Shadow Archaea had taken it out.
Alright, so it seems like there is a demi attached to the hollow point.
In fact, I think when we first finished the fight with Malik, that's how we left. We didn't walk back. We set up the hollow point and we ported back to.
Who was it that set it up again?
Aris. Or Lyra was with us, I believe.
Lyra set it up. Did anyone work with her to set it up?
If it would have been Reed, if anyone, because I think those are the two
Right.
that we've gotten
So I'll
permission
say,
to follow.
yeah, when
well,
Lyra's... or go ahead.
I remember powering it and then going... I feel like we went back to the room in... with the mind flayers. And I think that's
Oh,
what
did
Lyra...
we go back to that orb? We might have done that. We might have gone back to that.
I think that's correct.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, because you went back to the library from there. So yeah, a Demi would appear here. And it seems to recognize Reed. And it says, "Hello, Master Reed. How can I be of assistance?"
Huh.
Which means Lyra may have set it up to recognize him.
Okay, so I'll be like, can you take us to the cathedral?
It says, powering up teleportation circle, connecting to cathedral. Do you mean the... Actually, it would say, there is no cathedral hollow point in connection to the network. Do you mean something else?
What would we call that?
The Vault of Kaltaris, I believe, or something similar. Vaults of Kaltaris.
Nimble would say yes, the Vaults of Kaltora.
Kaltora, okay.
One moment, Master Reed, and there is a archway that appears glowing, and he says the portal connection is complete. Looks like a glowing gateway appears.
Going to spring forth and barrel through.
Alright, so Reed steps through, vanishing.
I'm gonna walk backwards through to see if the disc continues to follow me through the portal. Actually not sure how it'll read this distance.
It'll just spring into the wall, like a rubber band. Alright, so you walk through the portal, disappearing, and I'll just say that, yeah, the floating disc would follow you through. And the rest of you go through?
Yep.
Alright.
Yeah.
Are you bringing the... Well, I guess you left the bodies there.
Yeah, for now.
Alright, so there is a rush of energy as you teleport, returning to the cathedral basement, and you are once again within the church, standing near what appears to be several warforged who are a bit surprised as you teleport in. Nimble would say, let me go speak to Demi Prime, as he makes his way down into the actual vaults. The hollow point is there with you floating on your disc. What do you all want to do?
Wait for Nimble, I guess.
Yeah, it's not gonna take too long. If he doesn't come back in like an hour, I'll probably wander off.
Alright, no, he's gone for probably about 10 minutes. When he returns and says, Demi Prime is going to send some of her people through to guard the area, and we'll set up a defensive outpost there. She wanted me to thank you for the trust, that you trust us enough to guard this place for you. And we will admit you are giving us a bit of a resource, as this is something we can study and maybe learn from, so it is very much appreciated. The tribe is stronger friends now with the residents of the vault.
Nice.
Well, that's good to hear.
He says, do we wish to wait for her to do this, or shall we bring the hollow point to Chiron?
Demi will send Warforged soon. No wait too long.
Says, I believe she just needs to get some assembled. I assume it will be within the next 10-20 minutes.
Excellent. Yes, let's Tribe take Hollow to Chiron, but Tribe now have Shadow Crystal to power it.
Well, you could go back down through and go to where Lyra is and teleport from there. That might be shorter than walking it across the city.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Alright, so you want to do that?
Yeah,
that's
sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Alright. Back into the undercaves.
Oh, sorry, that was a misclick.
Made you persuade someone of something. Alright, so you go back down, drag the hollow point back through to where the orb is, where Lyra is waiting. She says, welcome back. I had been waiting for a day. I was a little worried.
Our plan was to overnight there. She would have known.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. So she's like, it's good to see you. Let's head back.
Hey, what is this area called where we met the mind flayers and we have the teleportation orb?
This would probably be... It was an elven bunker that was used during one of the cataclysms, is what you had found out. You're not sure if you have the actual name.
All right. Well, the reason I ask is because I actually had it listed in our inventory that we have a shadow crystal here as well. 1 crystal powering teleportation orb in safe room under Issac since 52 autumn.
Safe room under Issac.
Safe room under Issac.
And I specifically said teleportation orb, not hollow
orb.
point, because I'm pretty sure this is when we encountered this one when we were with Abagaru.
Oh, that's the only safe room I can think of. Yeah, is the one that Lyra met us at in the halls.
I'll call it Elven Bunker.
All right, so you returned.
Call it the what bunker?
Well, that's what Lou just
said. The Elven
said.
Bunker, yeah.
I want to use the terminology that we're going to actually be talking about the same things, you know?
Yeah.
To avoid confusion.
Yeah, it would be... I mean, it was the Corellan Elven Bunker, but yeah, you can call it the Elven Bunker. That's fine. So you return to Chiron's library. He is... I guess he would... You're not sure what an excited Chiron would look like, because he just looks like a skeleton to you all. But he motions for you to bring the hollow point over. And he says, I shall begin setting this up. Thank you.
Will take much work?
He says, it will take me some components and several days' worth of work. It will be invaluable in our research projects going forward. So let me grab that. Pedestal. So he sets it up right here. And he would begin kind of moving his claw around as some of the components he had stored nearby would kind of float over and start to spread around as he starts doing the ritual. But yeah, at this point, what does the group want to do?
You said that he had set that up somewhere specific?
Yeah, it's where it looks in the map. This is kind of where he's setting it up.
Or is it just me who's not currently on there?
Oh, yeah, you might need to pull yourself on if you can't
that's
see
fine.
it.
Yep. All right, I wasn't sure if we were all on there as a group or not. Okay, let me just... Oh, sure he did. Okay. Neat.
So we've got 4 more days till the summit itself.
Yeah, so we can pass that quickly. You can work on downtime stuff.
Can I ask Lyra to refill my my ring of spell storing with so it's full up on shield spells?
Yeah.
Says, of course. I haven't been using my magic much in these labs, or in this library. So she casts a bunch of shield spells into your ring.
Reed, did you identify that third potion? Sorry
I did not. I would like to do that now, though. Thank you for reminding me.
That is a potion of growth.
Nice.
I was going to say, Reed, are there any fingernails in it?
No fingernails.
I think I would try to talk to the captives if they're going to talk to me, although it would just be practical questions about what sorts of funerary rites they would prefer for their fallen companions. I would tell them that I'm trying to arrange them with more dignity, but don't want to insult their traditions.
Give me a persuasion check. Oh. So they seem kind of surprised that you're willing to do that for them, but they say if they had fallen in battle, generally they would be brought back to the Shadowfell. So their families can be notified and they could be sent to their homelands. But if you wish to bury them here, probably. He says, "I don't
Is there means of preserving them you would prefer? There may be chance to deliver them, as is proper.
Outside of magic, I'm not sure how one would preserve the bodies. Are you a priest or a priest of the Raven Queen?
Deadly no.
As well. Generally, Raven Queen followers would know the rites and the rituals cast on the dead to make sure they're ferried correctly to their final rest. We don't know such spells ourselves. Do you plan to get in touch with our people again?
Plan no, but does not seem unlikely.
As well, we can probably deliver the news if we end up escaping or are returned.
I will nod and leave them with that.
Alright, so yeah, they seem genuinely surprised that you don't intend to just kill them. Alright, so for the next 4 days, as we wait for this peace summit to commence, what does the group want to do?
I do have some questions for the remainder of tribe.
Okay.
The first is what we intend to do if there is violence at Summit. We have assured protection to many parties and do not think it likely, but if it were to happen, we have obligation to act perhaps. But act how? I am not certain.
I can't speak for everybody, but it is my intention to, in any situation, in any situation in the summit, attempt to meet violence with violence only until a point where we can mitigate the original violence, if that makes any sense. I want this summit to be as peaceful as it can be, but there are a lot of interested parties here with a lot of wildly varying motives. So if anybody's going to start making swings, I think that it behooves everybody to ensure that the swings do not continue. And unfortunately, the best way to stop somebody swinging is to swing back. But
will this hold even if it is Cao Meng who starts hostilities?
Unfortunately, yes. If Cao Meng proves himself to be an enemy of peace, I commit to reacting in kind. Do I think that he will do this? No. But if he does, you have my word that I will meet him blade to blade.
It is good. The other concern I have is it is likely that Imperial forces and Cao Meng both will want to know what what future hope there is for modifying their condition, for that will largely determine how their future role in Isaac, and I do not know what it is we have to tell them.
I don't know necessarily what it is that we can tell them either. I've been meeting with Kalming in my free time to let him know that there are options for mitigating many of the ailments that plague vampires, but in terms of allowing them to exist side by side with other sorts of humans. Sorry, my dog was scratching the carpet. In terms of mitigating what the fallout that they have on other humans, I think that there's very little that can be done. I know that Chiron here has mentioned that in terms of survival, strictly speaking, vampires can subsist on the blood of animals, but is that something they would be willing to agree to? I don't know. This is not something that I have spoken about at length with them.
Very well. It weighs on my mind as something we should prepare for if Imperial forces don't resort to violence at Summit, but decide upon hearing the news to demand that Summit form pact to in future eradicate vampires, then I do not know what will happen if such statement is made. But it seems possible.
It would be my intention that if such a statement is made, I mean, it's going to depend ultimately on what I would consider the maturity of the participants, but if at such a summit several parties are keen to express an interest in eliminating one, then we could at least allege that for the remainder of the summit, nothing will come about as a result of that conviction. However, as soon as the summit expires, then those precautions are no longer guaranteed.
Good.
Nimble would say, I doubt that's something that any of the factions would say out loud. If they were planning hostilities against the vampires, it's most likely something they would spring upon them. At least in my experience with politics, such things are not usually stated, more just happen, betrayals and such.
I agree, and in recognition of these concerns, I would say that it is probably the case that the vampires have prepared themselves for such an inevitability if it comes to pass, though I hope it does not.
Go ahead, sorry.
It seems kind of important that we get a lot of, or we get people to compromise over Isaac. Obviously, there's a lot of people involved, and no one particular group is going to come out as prevailing force. But if we could impose upon them the idea that the city must be shared between living and undead, and maybe it could be partitioned like a pie, of some kind.
I agree, and I think that I think that Sim actually makes a very good point. Loath though I am to admit it, I think that in the context of undead populations, ghouls, for example, require very little to actually exist. Sword wraiths, similarly.
Is that true? I thought ghouls had to eat flesh also.
Well, yes, but it could be that it can be dead.
Does anyone have religious knowledge?
Yeah,
I do.
So with religious knowledge, I wouldn't even make you roll because it's pretty low level. But you would know that ghouls, when uncontrolled, just when running around rampant, will devour flesh just continuously. But they don't have to eat it to survive. They're not like vampires. So if they're under the control of something, they would just sort of exist the same as a zombie or a skeleton might. Yeah.
So I'll say ghouls, for example, don't actually need to consume to survive, and sword wraiths, similarly, being ghosts more than anything, don't need to consume anything to survive. So even though it is vampires that I happen to be closest to, they are the ones that give me greatest cause for concern when it comes to the long-term civility of Isaac. Frankly, they may not be able to exist here without incurring, or rather, imposing their existence on others, and I don't know what that means for them. If they are content to survive on the blood of animals, then hopefully we can convince them to do exactly that. But as Chiron had briefly mentioned, that, at the very least, their strength would not be what it is with the consumption of human blood. So I don't know what that means for them, and I wish I had better answers.
Very
Well,
well.
I may have missed this detail. I was not paying close attention during all the meetings, but so the vampires were not made vampires in the normal way.
That's correct.
They were made vampires by Malik.
That's correct. They were not
and
infected necessarily, in as much as they were originally captured by Malik and held captive, and during their captivity they were experimented on by Malik, and as a result of those experimentations were, quote, gifted.
Yeah. So just from what you know, I'll just give a quick summary. They were captured by Malik, and he was doing some sort of shadowy necrotic experiments on them. So they weren't traditionally, or created like traditionally as vampires usually would be. Though, because you defeated him, they escaped before the experiments could conclude, and they were just released in the state that they were in, kind of free willed at that point.
So, I may have already made a check to see, but would I be able to make an Arcana check to see if I know if this is something that's potentially reversible? I would assume.
So, from knowledge, religion, it would be more religion than Arcana.
Well, I didn't know if since they weren't created in the normal way, I didn't know if maybe it would be Arcana in this case.
It would probably still be more religion, just because of the nature of undeath. Because Malik could very well be trained in religion and used rituals to create them. But from what so Sim, from what you know with your religious knowledge, there is no way to undo vampirism. You just, at that point, they're kind of corrupted and you just have to slay them. The only possibility could be some kind of greater power, like a wish spell maybe. But other than that, I mean, and wish spell is basically like almost impossible to do that level of power. Because that's, there's only a few people in the world, and you probably wouldn't even know any of them that could do something like that. So I assume you'd share that, right?
Well, I would, I think I would say it is impossible beyond any capacity I know of, but at least to reverse vampirism. I do not know why Chiron is so convinced that the bloodlust is immutable, but the fact that it is not that it is seemingly impossible has not yet discouraged me from trying. I just worry what will happen.
So I'm wondering if we can find a way to the Shadowfell, which we need to find for our friends. If we could not take these vampires with us, if for no other reason than maybe that's a better home for them. But if we could somehow find out what experiments Malik was doing, how he was doing them, if we could not try to find some cure.
It is certainly true that if parties at Summit unite in the opposition to presence of vampires, we can offer an alternative to extermination if Cao Meng and his people are willing to emigrate.
Chiron would say, I very much doubt the humans will suffer vampires in their cities. Any humans with knowledge of vampires knows the dangers they pose.
But if we can offer alternate solution, perhaps it's better. But enough of the vampires. But they concerned me heavily because they were. We knew going when we arranged summit that there would be question and we did not have answers. But I have two other concerns, both similar concern, I suppose, which is prospect of uninvited parties who seek to attend summit.
Oh, Nimble says, do you think there are other factions that might show up?
There is certainly chance that revenants might appear. It seemed previously they were acting with some organization, but it did not seem fruitful to try to learn more of them, other than that they had some communication with Cao Ming.
I thought Lyra would interject. I thought the revenants were under the control of the Alhun, them and the ghouls.
That is no longer as true as it used to be, or at least they pretend it is not. One of those. And I did not seek them out because our interactions have not gone well, but it seems likely that they have claimed to be residents of city, but any stable peace for Isaac cannot really involve them, it seems. So I do not really know how to deal with them if they appear. And of course there are countless other factions which we simply may not know, we are ignorant of. And lastly, of course, it is not impossible that servants of Malik may attempt to interfere somehow.
But if they know about it, I mean, how would they know?
I do not deem it impossible that they have been watching us since our last encounter.
Lyra says, where did you end up agreeing to host the summit?
In the court of Queen Dinara.
Within her basement under the fountain? Or
Is it
within
true?
her lair? Oh, alright. Well, you'll at least have her ghosts on high alert. I'm sure they will do whatever they can to protect their queen. So it does seem like a fairly secure location.
I'll also have True Seeing up, so I'll be able to see anyone who's invisible or snooping or using clairvoyance or anything like that.
I do not know what to expect, but it seems likely, especially now we have enlisted Warforged to guard the vault. If they know about it, they may well seek to disrupt in some way to prevent peace in Isaac, especially if it will support the continued Warforged growth and whatever else we have planned.
So what about the major factions, Nimble says? The Esmira, for example. Are we sure that we can trust them to not try to take the leaders of the summit prisoner?
That I would oppose myself. I do not believe any faction has the sort of prowess required to make a move at this gathering without the support of all the others.
I think if any faction's going to try to take the others prisoner, they're going to meet with a room full of defense.
Yes, tribe must make known, since tribe work with all the factions, and many factions have agreement with tribe, and tribe name is known. And tribe make known at beginning of summit that peaceful talks expected, and tribe will act against any violence during summit, and perhaps will at least allow talks to complete without incident.
The Esmira and Softspire forces, the Empire representatives, have a huge army of soldiers as well as trained, very powerful trained mercenaries at their disposal. Are we sure that we can trust them to act honorably with that sort of advantage over the rest
Maybe
of
not
us?
after summit, but for during summit, their leaders will be in Dinara's power, in Dinara's court. Dinara can make court scary and make people lost. Tribe was lost once in court of Dinara before Dinara trust tribe.
I don't think that necessarily the Ismir or the Softspire should be taken directly at their word, but I don't foresee either of them doing anything extremely chaotic. And like Beryl said, if they do, they're bound to be met with resistance from not only Dainara, but from perhaps the rest of the undead.
As well, you can trust that the Warforged will have your back, as well as will help to keep the summit peaceful.
We appreciate that. More than anything, I think that our intention here is to make sure that as many, like Reed said, as many pieces of the pie are awarded to as many participants as possible. There's no reason why everybody should not have a piece of Isaac.
And what is the tribe's stake in all of this? What will the tribe ask for at this summit? Are there parts of Isaac you wish to keep for yourselves?
Doesn't think tribe we should talk of Night Weather Vault during summit. This should be secret with Warforged and tribe. Is too much unknown and possible power if known about Vault.
As well.
I agree.
I have no intention to say anything about the vault. I was just curious if you had any demands that your tribe was going to make of the city.
Tribe must have all help tribe can get to find Shock and Orchard and friends. This is what Beryl wishes. She looks around the rest of you to speak up if there's anything else we want to ask for or try to gain for ourselves.
This is also what I wish. Additionally, I would say that the number one threat which plagues all of us, not just the living and not just the dead, would be the existence and continued efforts of the Alhoun. We don't know necessarily what it is that they're up to, but I think that we can deduce that whatever it is does not care much for the living or the dead, which make Isaac their home. I do not think that the Alhoun care for the Esmira, the Softspires, the Warforged, the Sword Wraiths, or anyone else.
Yeah.
So, as you're talking, Nimble would suddenly kind of stop and look up and say, I must return to the cathedral. My apologies. And he just gets up and starts walking towards the door.
Neat.
If no one says anything, he just leaves.
Is it something we can help with?
So he would stop and turn around and say, he would say, Demi Prime has called. I must answer. He says, I do not have time to speak of it. Please accept my apologies. And then he would just keep walking.
Is anyone else worried about that?
I'm a little bit worried that something is going on up there, but I feel like if they need help, perhaps she would have asked. Or maybe she doesn't want to involve us.
I feel like this might have something to do with the vault, for all we know.
There's two barrels.
I would like to try to follow him.
Alright, so so is the tribe following him, or are you going to continue speaking?
I would say if...
Or it's just,
So this,
one person
like the
following
first
him?
day of our downtime, this happened right away?
Yeah, so this happened basically during that, because you haven't taken any downtime yet. It's still kind of morning time, probably about 11 a.m. at this point on the 66th. So this was kind of before the downtime started when you were talking about the summit.
Okay.
I would be on board with... if Anna Kate starts following, I'll start following as well, and I'll say, if there's something untoward that the Warforged need help with, I'm all about trying to help them out. If they're looking for some sort of privacy, then perhaps we owe it to them, but there's no way of knowing really what it was that he stormed off for.
Maybe catch up to Nimble and ask if we are allowed to follow, or if tribe must stay away.
Is Nimble still in the room, or has he already...
Sounds like he's gone.
At this point, he's probably outside of the room. He's probably on his way to the stairwell, heading back up to
he started walking.
Yeah.
Is it dangerous for him to go alone, or it's safer, safest on the surface now?
At this point, with the peace pacts, the only enemy that was left were the vampires, and there's a peace pact. So unless the Alhoun's forces haven't been spotted in days, As far as you
we
know,
don't actually know if Elodie's ritual went off. We haven't checked in with her, so.
Yeah. So, do you want to go with him, or do you want to try to run up and catch him? He wasn't running. He was just like kind of going.
Let's catch
Yeah,
up.
I think Anna, Kate, and May June started following right
So
away.
you,
But I was just suggesting that when we catch up, we ask if we're allowed to come with him. We might not be.
Yeah.
I think that's a good suggestion. So if he's moving casually and we're also moving casually or perhaps briskly, such that we might catch him, I'll just say, Nimble, I don't want to pry, but is this something that we can help with? If you would prefer that we stay, perhaps we can stay. But if we are allowed to follow, perhaps we can follow.
All right, so the group follows through the halls. You would probably catch him around the stairwell. He's probably on his way up. He would say, "You are welcome to come with me if you wish, but I think I will be safe moving across the city on my own. I can come back and meet you here later on."
If we are free to follow, then perhaps we will.
He nods and says, "Very well."
Always good to know what's going on.
So the group heads up to the city. I assume you're just going out the front door of the keep.
Following Nimble.
He's the only one.
Yeah, we gotta get our steps in for the day.
Yeah, all that teleporting.
Hasn't really been working off the ale.
Right?
What happened to my music?
Dun dun.
Oh man. That vault we stone shaped. Do those doors open inward or outward?
They open outward.
Oh right, because we stone shaped to seal them. Okay.
Yeah, so it would be a pretty
My
useless
brain.
stone shape. You just stone shape and then someone just like walks up and pushes it open. You're like, oh, whoops. Should have thought about that, guys. So you make your way across the city. Sorry, I just have to set something up.
It's an ambush.
So guys, help me remember, because I thought of it while we were talking and I was going to bring it up during our downtime. We still have the bones in Chiron's library that we promised Mother Claw we would lay to rest. And
I do not think that we have gone back down there since oh yeah, because we were going to lay them to rest up here.
The bones, yeah, we left the bones in Chiron's library when we went to the battle with Malek. So they're stored in Chiron's library. We need to bury them. We promised Mother Claw we would.
So we didn't leave them there for a specific reason. We just left them there because we weren't coming up yet.
We left them there because Beryl emptied out the bag of holding before we went to the vault, because we didn't know what we were going to find and what we were going to need.
Sure, I would say that we could easily make time to.
Yeah,
them, especially
I
now
just
that the city is
had
safe.
forgotten, and I just saw it again when I was moving one of the hollow points into the Chiron's library in our inventory, and then I'm like, oh shoot, we need to do that.
So one thing you would note, as soon as you come upstairs, it seems that the mist on the city has lifted. Or at least it's lifted a bunch. It's much easier to see outside.
Is it sunny?
Oh, that's interesting.
Is there
not necessarily sunny? There is still some mist, but you imagine that if the vampires were above ground, this may have forced them underneath.
So Beryl's probably uncomfortable in this.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So Beryl pulls a big hood up over her head and is hiding from the sunlight.
Well,
as you're approaching the cathedral, you notice something. There are thousands of ghouls outside the cathedral, with Elodie in the area, kind of moving them about, as if she's controlling them.
Can you describe, rather, is it clear to us the manner in which she is controlling them? Does it appear to be like They're just
Well,
wandering about.
They're not attacking the cathedral or doing anything hostile. They just seem to be there. But they do seem to be under her control.
But is she doing it with gestures or with words or?
But there's thousands of them?
Yes, as in like the initial amount you saw around the keep when you first got to Issyk.
Jesus. Okay.
There's probably at least 1,000.
Right.
So Nimble would slow down a bit as he sees this. He would then start cautiously kind of walking towards what's going on. He approaches, and I assume you're all going with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have even broken stride when Nimble did. I would have just kept walking like everything's fine.
Seems like Elodie got her ritual off.
Elodie,
I
would kind of smile as she sees you all approaching, and she says, "Oh, hello, friends. I'm glad to see you're doing well."
Yeah.
She says,
So
as you can see, I've been doing quite well myself. And she smiles.
I see seizing control of ghouls went as planned. Did you also raise mists, or is this something else?
She says, yes, I've been able to gain quite a bit of control over the powers of Issyk, and I was able to disperse the mists a bit, forcing the vampires back underground. She says, you are of course welcome to pass by. Do not worry, the ghouls will not harm you. She says, I was just assembling them. And you would see, as she's here, more actually are kind of coming across the city and joining the ranks of these ghouls, filing in.
Where do you plan to keep so many?
She says, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I must say I could not have done this without the help of the tribe. So thank you.
Proud.
Yeah.
Elodie and Demi Prime. Elodie and Demi Prime still friends? Still work together? Or Demi Prime unhappy with Elodie's work?
She says, I hope so. It would be foolish of the Warforged to not be friendly to me now.
See?
Fuck. Can
I?
No, I mean, Beryl was more just trying to figure out what might have alarmed Demi Prime. So
maybe all the ghouls on her front lawn.
Yeah, when she says it would be foolish of the Warforged to resist me now, can I try to get a bead on her intention with that statement? Like, does it seem like she has got the beans now? Yeah. Because the last one went so well.
Not much better.
Elodie's the BBG. God damn it.
I mean, there was definitely a bit of a threatening tone on that joke that she made.
Yeah.
But as for if she's like planning to murder everyone, I mean, you don't think so. Before her, the Alhoun had control of the ghouls. It's just they're not hiding anymore. So yeah, she just stands there and smiles and kind of sees what, kind of waiting to see what the group's doing. She says, the ghouls, as I said, they will not harm you, so you're welcome to pass by.
Who will they harm?
That was my question.
She says, whoever I tell them to.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yep. That's a...
Under what circumstances will Elodie tell them to harm?
Right, yeah, that's a pointed response.
She says, these are strange questions, friends. It's almost as if you suddenly don't trust me.
Well, to be frank, I thought that we were establishing a peace summit, and here you are with 1,000 ghouls outside the cathedral. What are your intentions here, Elodie?
She says, yeah, there's probably a better place I could have assembled them. Do you think it seems like they could be a bit threatening here? Shall I move them somewhere?
Yeah, to both of those questions.
Well.
Very well.
Absolutely. I mean, I myself, personally, feel threatened by 1,000 ghouls, and you and I are not even enemies. What will the people who do think you might be their enemies think?
So she kind of puts her hand to her chest, and you see something glowing underneath her shirt as she begins to walk this way, and the ghouls begin to follow her. She says,
See the value in show of force even if you do not intend to apply it.
are you
I
all
do not
doing...
think it is wise, but...
Are you all doing anything as she leaves, or are you just going to let her take the ghouls out of here?
Errol's gonna like step aside, like beside the bridge or something, so that there aren't like ghouls passing on both sides of her.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, are they like? They're just walking. They're just like following her. That's it.
Yeah, at
Brushing
this
past
point,
us.
they would just be
Yeah.
following her pat. Like they're on all fours, just kind of moving past you all across the bridge.
On all fours.
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
That's how ghouls
Yeah, that's
move.
what ghouls
Crawling?
do. Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're kind of hunchy.
I was picturing more like zombies, like shambling along on upright.
They're kind of like feral zombies almost.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They're more like
That's right.
ghouls are more like ferals than like zombies, because zombies are more like the traditional Romero enemies, whereas ghouls are like 28 Days Later enemies. They eat corpses and people. So yeah, they all start moving very quickly past the group.
And she doesn't necessarily say anything. She just like when we say, "Hey, yeah, maybe you should move." She just like no response, just starts going.
She said,
well,
well, I
she
guess
said,
she might-
yeah, she just kind of shrugged and said, "All right, very well," and then she just started moving away with them.
Huh? Does she seem dejected by this course of action?
Give me another insight. So she may have seemed a little worried about the group's initial response, as if she thought maybe you weren't as good of friends with her as you were before. You don't know if she seemed dejected, though.
Okay.
wary.
Yeah, maybe a little bit wary that you guys might now think that, you know, she's too dangerous or something. But anyway, the ghouls would file past and you would see the horde of them dissipating into the city behind her.
All right, now who was throwing around these "told you so" eyes? Was that Anna Kate?
She's just shooting Reed
I've
licks.
never trusted her. So
I'm gonna, yeah. After they are like away, I'm just gonna look to Anna Kate and I'll just be like, I think we may have made a tactical error.
It's better than Alhoon's having 1,000 ghouls, no?
Is
you'll
it?
find out.
I don't know.
Elodie must want something, whereas and maybe her something is reasonable, whereas Alhoon's just mean.
She wants to wave her. No, sorry, that's not an appropriate phrase.
Wave her wand around.
She wants to wave her wand around.
Just to make sure everyone knows she has a big wand.
Yes, exactly correct. That's exactly what Mei Jun said.
She wishes to hold power. That is not so different from everybody else. I will
Yes,
not be
that's
more
true.
concerned
It's-
until...
You know what? That's a good point. For all we know, there are 1,000 Esmira out there.
Oh yeah, well the
It's
Esmira
so-
army was bigger than the Ghoul army.
Even should it prove necessary to act against her, I think she would still be, in some ways, easier to oppose than perhaps searching caverns for Alhun.
That's true. That's
And
true.
maybe
Perhaps
Tread not
it's
need
all
to
of us against
oppose.
goodness.
Maybe Elodie used ghouls.
Though I do think it was unwise, perhaps, for Tribe to so openly show that we were startled by this.
Well, why did Elodie? She's been staging them in hiding. Why would she show such force now?
You know, in
Unless-
hindsight, perhaps it is better that we do know about it now than finding out about it at the summit. Perhaps we can simply express that we did not expect to see them assembled as such and invite her to stage them during the summit. I think if there is to be a real consideration of power play between the living and the dead, it may not, if, for example, the Esmira, Bakor specifically, is planning to attend the summit with his 1,000 men sitting outside,
Thousands.
it may not be a bad idea for Eleni to show up with 1,000 ghouls sitting outside also. That will perhaps drastically alter the balance of power in the conversations inside, where there may only be a dozen or so people. Just with the knowledge that thousands exist outside.
You've never actually seen her with this many ghouls before. Like, the most you saw her with before was like 50 at her peak. Like, it looks like she drained out the undercaves, because there's a lot. So she may have gotten every ghoul within the city under her power with whatever she did at that second altar.
We weren't hostile, we just mentioned that it is an alarming sight. So, I don't know, like...
Well, when you get inside the cathedral, you see the Warforged are in full like panic mode. There's a bunch of warriors near the gates, a bunch of archers kind of up near the windows. They are getting ready because they were not. They probably, you assume, weren't expecting to see all those ghouls on their front lawn. Nimble would go downstairs. You assume he's going to go speak with Demi Prime. If you attempt to follow him, one of the Warforged would stop you and say, at this point, Demi does not want anyone in the basement. What do you want to do?
Okay.
I'll wait a bit.
Yeah.
Do you think Elodie has made a deal with the Alhoun? I will just kind of like whisper to my companions.
It is unlikely that Elhoun is her ally. I think more likely that Queen Dainera made some arrangement.
Yeah, you do remember she got on pretty well with Dainera when they were talking. And
between Elhoun and Elodie, they share power too much, or they share same source for power. They would always contest each other. No real alliance to be made.
Yeah, you remember Elodie speaking with Dainara about, the possibility that the human factions are not to be trusted. I don't know if you all remember that. When you introduced them, she was talking about
Yeah, they were thick as thieves.
Yeah, they were interested in shifting the balance of power, so this will do it.
Alright, so a little while later, Nimble would come back upstairs. We'll say like maybe half an hour passes. And he says, thank you for waiting for me. I can rejoin the group now.
Is everything okay?
He says there is concern over the what would the word be? Result of the rituals that were performed by Elodie, and the fact that the tribe okayed this. But I have told her what we were talking about, that the tribe had no knowledge of any of this, and she seemed to believe me. And we also don't necessarily know if Elodie is an enemy yet, as she did not attack the cathedral. It's just nervousness from our people as the undead being so close to our cathedral, and her not knowing what the tribe's intentions were, if they were planning to align with Elodie and attack us, which I assured Demi Prime was not the case.
Yeah, we're pretty open with Nimble, and he's basically gotten to observe and overhear pretty much everything. So I would imagine that he would be able to give Demi a pretty good idea of what...
Don't worry, I vouched for you. He gives you a high five. Team tribe right here.
If Demi Prime requires further assurance, let her know that if Elodie's presence stands against peace in Isik, we will oppose her as well.
Tribe wants to settle things in Isik, so Tribe not have to stay in Isik City much longer. Tribe has other quests to follow. Tribe wants to leave stability here for old citizens and new.
Yeah, he says, I was summoned because... as I said, Demi Prime just wanted assurances of what the tribe was up to, and we couldn't communicate over long distances, so I needed to give her an update of what was going on.
It is good. If you have a chance, offer her our apologies for startling her people, and perhaps her as well.
He says, worry not. I smoothed things over with her. I let her know what the tribe was doing and what your intentions were.
Well enough.
So yeah, at this point, the Warforged are starting to kind of calm down a little now. The ghouls left, and they're going back to what they were doing with their guards just kind of on high alert. So what does the party want to do? Seems there's a new power player in the city.
Did it seem like Elodie was going back to the sewers? Is that the direction that she was headed?
You don't know. She just headed across the bridge. But you know, in one swoop, she very much weakened the vampire's influence and the Alhoun's influence on the city.
Right. Okay. Are the sewers to the east? I guess that's a better question.
There are many different sewer entrances, so they very well could be.
Well, in much the same way as we just had the panicked Demi Prime to deal with, or not to deal with as case was, Nimble was well enough to speak for us, we may very well shortly have Imperials receiving terrified reports from any number of scouting parties. Perhaps we should go to the camp and let them know what has happened.
Do you give them a heads up, or?
They will have questions, and perhaps better if they do not venture out in force to acquire them, acquire answers.
That's a good point. If we could simply tell them what's happened, then they may not need to risk their scouts doing something dumb.
Yes, and Tribe can frame the situation in positive light. Alhoun's weekend, the vampires, kept at bay.
I think still they will not be happy with news, but yes, better if we can tell them in tell them what to expect at the summit.
I agree, and perhaps while you all are speaking with the Softspires and the Izmira, I can go and speak with the vampires and let them know of the developments and why these developments have come about. I'm sure that they did not take keenly to this development, as it were.
Alright, so are you splitting up then? So, are some of you going to speak with the humans and others to speak with the vampires?
That sounds maybe like the better idea, actually, because time is kind of important here.
Yeah. And I think Meijun has the rapport to do that.
Alright. So... the group is...
May June want to go alone, or...?
Well, yeah, that's... are you splitting up, or are you staying together?
Well, if there was somebody who wanted to go with me, certainly you could. I would not say no, but I don't also think that it's necessary. Ultimately, it's up to you.
Why don't Gamork and I and Meijun go see the vampires, and then Beryl and Sim and Miss Wren can go visit the people.
Okay. I think...
Alright, so...
I don't remember... I think we're sending our better charisma folks all in one party there.
No, we split the warlocks, right?
Oh, okay.
Sim is going to the humans and Reed is going to the vampires.
Oh, sorry. I thought... Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Alright.
Alright. Sim, odd or even?
Odd. Always odd.
Always odd.
Alright, so I'm gonna do Meijun's side first.
Oh, fun. Vampires are gonna be angry.
They're gonna be pissed.
Oh, man.
So, as the three of you are walking across the city, you would come upon this middle area here and see that this is kind of where the huge horde of ghouls is assembling right now. You would once again see Elodie and kind of ghouls filing in from the sewers and kind of some of the buildings to create this huge horde. Though, again, as you approach, they don't seem hostile towards you.
Okay. And this is the same cathedral where we had previously held a mass combat outside of it, right?
Yes, although it is destroyed, which I should mark.
Right. Okay. If it seems we are approaching them, is Elodie clearly visible here, or is it just like a mass of ghouls?
You don't see her on the battlefield. You want to look for her?
Yes.
Alright, so taking a look around, you would find her within some of the ruins here. It looks like she is doing some kind of spell cast, as she once again is kind of holding her hand to her chest, and something underneath her clothes is glowing on her kind of chest area. And she is pointing her hand at one of the ghouls, and her eyes are kind of all white right now. Are you going to approach her while she's doing this?
Yes.
Oh my
Are you
goodness.
trying to sneak up on her, or just approach?
Just approach. Not trying to sneak up at all. Just I have a thing that I want to ask her, and I'm not trying to be
So
covert about it.
as you get closer, you're within like 60 feet now. Some of the ghouls start to look at you and kind of hiss angrily. She would stop what she's doing. Her eyes kind of go normal, and she turns towards you, and she says, "Oh, hello again." And she smiles and approaches. May June, read. And she gives you a smile. I don't think I. Ah, yes, Gamork. That's right. What can I do for the three of you?
It's good to see you again, Elodie. I'm sorry that we responded so poorly to your presence over the cathedral. Frankly, I think that we were just simply not expecting to see you and so many of your ghouls there. It's not every day you see 1,000 ghouls assembled in one place, and we weren't necessarily sure what to make of that.
Give me a persuasion check. I see what you're trying to do. She just shrugs. She says, "It's understandable. You were probably surprised."
Indeed, we were. I actually had a question for you myself, and this would be something of a personal question, but also something of a political question. I recognize, as you had yourself plainly mentioned, that the shroud which blankets Isik, or rather its recent lack of presence, was your doing, and I think that in many cases this might not be a bad idea, and perhaps still it isn't one. But I myself was wondering if there was a way to, at least for the time being, reenact such a shroud. Specifically, it is in the interest of peace, I'll say. I think that it makes a lot of sense for the vampires to be able to attend the summit, and with this current presence of daylight, they may not be able to do so, and I worry that this might worsen relationships with the vampires among the other factions. Is that something that you would be open to?
She sort of looks over at Reed and Gamork, and she says, "And how do you two feel about this?"
We're all for peace in Isik, and just to tack on to what my friend says, I would say I would also ask you if you're willing to share the city, if a portion of the city could be designated for you. Would you accept that, or are you more ambitious in your goals?
She smiles. She says, "Did you think I would suddenly wish to take the whole city just because I had this army at my command?"
Well, power can go to one's head.
And she laughs. She says, "I suppose that's true." Well, first of all, for what May June said, I, unlike you, am not friends with the vampires of the city. They were causing issues in the sewer while I was gathering my forces, and I have no love for them, as I believe they were trying to kill me or enslave me. But as for the mists, actually, Reed and May June, give me persuasion checks. And she says, "The day of the summit, which I believe you said was what was it, the 70 something?"
It's the 70th.
70th.
Auspicious day.
She says, "I can try to create more mists on that day so the vampires can travel, but for now I am perfectly happy with them staying in their hole."
I understand your position.
As I have no love for them.
And I would imagine that many others do not have a love for them either. Would it sway your mind at all to know that the presence of the sun actually has a direct effect on one of the tribe as well?
Who?
Beryl. It just so happens that kobolds don't do well in the sunlight. Isaac has been something of a blessing for her.
Is she that uncomfortable that she wishes the mists to be returned to the way they were?
I couldn't rightly say, and I would not dare to speak for her. I just know that today, when we came out into the sunlight, it was visibly uncomfortable for her, and that's not something that I have experienced in the time that I've known her.
If she wishes to come and speak with me, I would listen, but I think it would be advantageous for all of us to keep the vampires safely underground for now. But as I said, I will, on the 70th day, allow the mist to return so they can attend the summit.
Very well.
Though I think there are tunnels that would connect to the summit anyway, so I don't think they would even need the surface.
Perhaps they could, yes. My concern is that enacting the sunlight in this way, even though it is a natural occurrence, it is, for a long time anyway, has been an unnatural situation in Isaac, and I think that the vampires may see this as a hostility more than anything, but I cannot rightly say whether or not that is beneficial or detrimental to the summit itself.
And she nods and says, well, for now, I will plan on giving them access on the 70th, but until then, I would rather the sun hamper their movements.
I understand.
Alright, so I'm going to pop over to the other half of the group.
Oh, boy.
And you all, when you get to the fort, you would see the guards are on high alert. There are a bunch of archers up on the wall. You hear a bunch of yells from in the gate. It sounds like someone or something kicked the hornet's nest. As you approach, there are lots of crossbows trained on you, but when they see who you are, they allow you to come inside the fort. So what do you want to do?
If someone doesn't direct me to somewhere to give report, I will look around for where the previous command center was.
So that was in the inn over here.
Yeah.
If you head in, you would see a bunch of soldiers speaking with... let's see. You would see a bunch of soldiers speaking with Bakor. And you would also see Lady Softspire there as well, speaking with her people. They do not seem happy, and when the group enters, Bakor says, Tribe, is this your doing?
Not as such. We have been gone longer than intended, but we returned with much news of happenings about city.
He says, yes, the ghouls have returned. They seem to be led by some sort of necromancer.
Yes, it is she we mentioned.
He says, I thought as much. Well, they haven't attacked us yet, but it's quite a force moving throughout the city.
Perhaps, but it is not as though you do not travel with formidable forces as well. For now, the necromancer has expressed no desire for hostilities, and remains friendly with other parties, including, to a certain extent, the Warforged, who are similarly startled by her increased powers, I suppose.
Give me a persuasion check.
On the upside, Alhoons no longer have army.
It is true. It is not as though there are more ghouls today than there were yesterday, and a large army of ghouls occupying streets, perhaps more frightening, but less actual threat to strategists than unseen army of ghouls lurking in tunnels that you cannot scout properly.
He says, yes, she marched her whole army right next to my fort. That was no accident. It was a show of power. I know what she was doing. The question is, can we trust her?
You can trust her to pursue her own interest, and I do not think war is in her interest. There is no guarantee she would win even with a force like this.
What is her interest, then?
So far as I can see, she wishes to pursue her craft and be left alone. If she should desire more than that, I can promise at least my aid in opposing her. And formidable as she may be, I am no less formidable when it comes to fighting undead. Or necromancers.
In my experience, leaving necromancers to gain power is often a bad idea. It says, if she continues to grow her undead army, she may grow to the point where we cannot oppose her.
It is true, but perhaps why some it is important to establish limits, perhaps, on how her forces may be grown.
So you can tell. Well, give me an insight check. Those of you who are there. So, yeah, he still seems pretty on edge about the force that just walked past his doorstep. But he seems a little bit comforted by at least now kind of knowing that that force is controlled by someone who seems to be friendly with your group. He says, well, I suppose as long as she remains non-hostile, we don't have much of a choice at this point. Malistray would say, well, even if we were to kill her, Bakor, that would just make her army go berserk. If no one is controlling the ghouls, they would go back to their original state. So the tribe is right. Attacking her right now would be extremely dangerous, even if we did manage to kill her and take her off the playing field. And Lady Sawspire nods. She says, it's true. I think they're right, Bakor. I think all we can do now is wait and see. But he still seems a bit unconvinced. He just nods and says, I'll consider my options. Thank you for coming and talking to me.
There is perhaps one further thing to consider. I just wish to make mention.
Actually, at this point, yeah.
This force of ghouls she has secured, and whatever other power it grants, there are perhaps other ways to threaten this power, and right now one of Cornerstones is in control of the Warforged. So maintaining good diplomatic relations with them may certainly provide you more options in future. And certainly make diplomacy perhaps a little more viable than what other options the House of Mira may bring to bear.
He says, what do you mean? What do the Warforged have that would be usable against her?
Power of control over undead in Isik is tied to altars. And as far as I know, they're not movable, and they are focuses for power, or sites for ritual. I have not properly understood, but they are the means the Alhuns used to control ghouls. They are the means Elodie has used to control ghouls.
I see.
And they offer... It is not swift or easy, but if one wishes to control the undead in Isik for a long time and to consolidate power, they are necessary, and she does not control them directly, so it seems likely that she will have to resort to diplomacy as well.
So he looks to Malistray for a moment, as if giving him a knowing glance. Give me an insight check.
Yeah, well.
He would then look to Akami, and she would give him kind of like a shrug. So you think, Sim and Beryl, you think the knowledge of the altar may have confirmed something for him that he might not have known for sure.
Interesting. Hopefully that's not going to come back to bite us.
But he would say, well, this is good to know. Thank you for giving me this information.
Knowledge is power, and those who, when power is too imbalanced, bad things can happen.
He nods. He says, well, thank you, yes, thank you for bringing all this to my, thank you for bringing all this knowledge to bear for me. As I said, I'll consider things, and if you find out anything else about Elodie or the happenings, I would, of course, love to know.
I am sure you would, and I will tell you what I can. I always have. But our interest here is peace in the city.
So this is
Whatever
ours. And the summit is still scheduled for the 70th, I assume.
That is correct. All parties have agreed to attend or send representative, and so far I do not see anything to prevent its occurring. Of course, I always worry about problems, but to discuss problem is why we have summit.
Of course. All right. Well, I'm going to. He says I must speak with my counselors for a bit in private. So I shall speak more later if you wish, but for now I must retire. And you see a bunch of them move to a back room together as the soldiers just kind of wait out here. Probably talking about some of the things that just happened.
Well, I don't want to hang out here, so I'm headed back to Kyron's library.
All right. So you are heading back to the library. The other half of the group is heading to the hole, I assume.
I believe so.
All right. So you go down. You see at the beginning of the hole, there are a couple of vampires there. More than just the one. There's 4 of them now. They would bow to Mei Jun as he walks towards them. And they say, I assume you are here to speak with Cao Meng?
Indeed, though I would not suggest that conversation with you is any less valuable. If any of you fancy a conversation, I'd be very happy to tell you what we've come here to discuss. I don't intend to keep anybody in the dark necessarily.
He shrugs. He says, if you wish to speak to me, I'm more than happy to talk to you, Mei Jun. But
very well.
If you want to speak to Cao Meng, I can take you to him as usual.
Well, then perhaps it would be more efficient to do so, but if you'd fancy to join the conversation, I respect your agency.
All right. So he would bring the 3 of you into the tunnel and down the hall a ways where Cao Meng seems to be speaking with a bunch of the vampires who seem a bit pissed off. Yeah, it seems like you've come in the middle of a conversation where they're trying to figure out what happened to the mist and why suddenly sun is all over the city. Cao Meng would notice you and kind of quiet everyone, and he says, Mei Jun, an auspicious time for you to come visit. Do you know anything about the happenings within Issyk?
In fact, I do. The short version of it is that the resident necromancer in Issyk has taken it upon herself and her 1,000 ghouls to eliminate the mist, which prevents the sun from reaching the ground here. I think that ultimately her intention is to mitigate the amount of control that you have over the place, and if I were her, I don't suppose that I would have done things any differently, but knowledge, as they say, is power, and we thought it appropriate to let you know what has happened so that you can choose to act appropriately. We do have her word that the mists will be reinstated on the day of the summit, but as far as a long-term solution to the power dynamic in Isaac, I'm not sure how much that really gains us, other than to
So
say you can chat for a day and then be relegated to the tunnels again.
he would shoot one of his advisors an angry glance, and he says, "The necromancer. I should have known. How would she suddenly have this ability?"
Truth be told, she had access to one metric which gained her a measure of control over the ghouls, and has very recently come into control of a second.
Oh, he says, "And what metric is this?"
Altars of a kind, made of obsidian. The same altars, in fact, which the Alhoun were using to control the ghouls before her arrival. Between her and the Alhoons, frankly, I prefer that she has control of the ghouls than they do, but ultimately, I would prefer that the ghouls were not part of the equation, if I'm honest.
One of the vampires says, "I know of one of the altars. They're in the basement, or in the sewer areas under the keep. What if we were to destroy this altar? Would that lose her the powers over the ghouls and the mists?"
I wager that it would, yes.
He
I
looks.
think
I
that
yeah, I think we
countervails
discussed.
our previous investigation of the altar suggested that performing the ritual transfers the power, and that destroying the site just means no one else can perform the ritual. I
I think
seem
we
to recall
discussed
that.
trying to, or having destroying the altar as not being really an option.
I seem to
Well,
recall discovering something to contravene that.
yeah, so you, from what you remember, the altars can be used to gain power, but not necessarily to, they're not needed to maintain power. That is true. Because you did, I think, an Arcana check for that.
Yeah.
I
Gotcha.
think also, if Reed and Mei June caught this, I think that the vampire might have just revealed the location of the third altar
I was going
because
to
you
say,
said
I don't think
in
we
the
remember one
sewers.
being in the sewers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, he said under the keep, which is where the
Yeah.
sewers were. There were only two altars you knew of.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
right. We knew of the one that was in the keep, like that we had actually seen the Alhuns practicing on it at some point,
Well,
not too far from Dinara.
that one was under the keep. It wasn't in the keep.
Okay,
Right.
is that the
My
one that
understanding
she's
is that,
calling in the sewers?
yeah, when he said in the sewers, I
Oh
understood that to
well,
mean
I was
something
thinking of the
quite
third.
different from the one that the Alhoons were using.
Gotcha.
So it could be, but there's also pipes down there, so it could also be the same one that you all know
He
of.
could just be talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, if I was present for the conversation wherein we learned that the altars don't actually maintain control of the ghouls,
Yeah.
then I will reciprocate that information to the vampires. That was something that I had forgotten myself. So I'll say, if we are going to use the altars to eliminate Elodie's control over the ghouls, I think that we will probably need to find somebody who can perform a ritual sufficient to remove her control over the ghouls using that altar and then destroy it thereafter, so that way she does not have the control that she does now. Frankly, perhaps the best option is to split control of the ghouls between two entities so that no one entity has 1,000 ghouls at their disposal, or in the case of the vampires, does not have sufficient power to eliminate the mists from Isaac.
So he would look to one of the mind drinkers and he says, "Can this be done?" And the bluish pale vampire says, "Possibly, but I don't know of the ritual that she used. I'm not a necromancer. My powers into the arcane are somewhat limited." Damn it. He says, "What of your people? Do you know of the ritual that would bind or unbind the ghouls or the mists?" He says, "I doubt you have the abilities, Meijun, but you do have arcanists in your ranks, don't you?"
Sim is still carrying around a meticulous copy of the inscriptions and instructions on the ritual under the keep.
Is that something that Mei June knows about?
You were there when I was making them. But...
Okay. Then, in that case, I will reply and I'll say, in fact, we do have several party members who are gifted with the arcane, and specifically, one of them has on his person specific instructions on how to replicate this exact ritual. So, is it possible? Yes, I think it might be.
I'm gonna say it's not me. I'm gonna point towards me and be like, it's not me.
Nose goes!
This is fair enough. Well, if this is something you can do for us, we would be in your debt, and the vampires of Issyk would owe you a favor. As long as the power is swung so heavily in the necromancer's favor, we are quite limited in what we can do, and you've given her quite a bit of power. Something
Indeed.
to think about.
I have a question for, well, not only Kalmeng and for you, good sir, but for the vampires at large, and that is, well, to be candid, between the living and the dead in Issyk, every creature here is able to exist on its own without necessarily imposing their existence on others. I think that if peace is to reign long-term in Issyk, there must needs be a way for vampires to exist peacefully alongside the living. It is my understanding that perhaps vampires can learn to subsist on the blood of animals or creatures which do not themselves have conscious or morality.
As you're talking about this, he says, these are important discussions to have, but for the time being, I think we need to concentrate on the things that have just happened. Let us have these discussions later. And he would maybe signal to you a little bit, maybe not to talk about this in front of your friends. If you... Actually, why don't you two or three make an insight check?
Ooh, exciting.
Because he's doing a little bit of a deception here. Oh,
well,
apparently Beryl knows everything.
Everything.
Oh wait, no, that was sorry, that was the old roll. So
yeah, I rolled that at the as American.
Yeah, that was
right.
So
to be honest, my intention at this exact moment is actually just to see if they are able to not require killing people to maintain peace in Issyk, whether that is related to my personal goals or not. I just want to see if they can be made a faction that doesn't have to kill people.
Do we still have Gamork? Are you there?
I think we lost him.
May have stepped away. All right. So, yeah, give me an insight, Mei June.
Insight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The only good one of the night.
Wow.
So yeah, you get the feeling maybe he doesn't want to talk about this in front of the humans. He kind of when he kind of dismisses it when you bring it up.
Okay, I'll leave it alone then.
Which
I'll
he
say
kind of hides behind. We have other things we have to worry about right now.
Sure. I'll respond and I'll say that's a good point. I think that the disappearance of the mists is perhaps more critical to the people than anything. Perhaps we can leverage this favor that you mentioned at a later time. We'll see if we can touch base with our comrades and get you the ritual that you require.
He nods. So at this point, are the three of you just heading back to the library afterwards?
Yeah.
I would say, so do we know where... Yeah, we knew that the others were heading to the base camp. So my
So maybe
very
base
specific...
camp first.
Yeah, my very specific goal at this point would be to find Sim, because I know that he has the necessary rituals, and if I don't find him at the base camp, then I'll go back to the library, assuming that he's gone that way.
So for the end of the game, because we're at 8:30, we'll say you went back to the base camp and maybe found out they had left, so you would have headed back to the library. So maybe around 2 o'clock you all meet up back at the library, 2 in the afternoon. So yeah, why don't we end here with some MVP votes? All this talking.
Talkie.
Alright, I got 1 vote. 3 votes. 4. Oh, I think I know who it is. So 5. Looks like Sim is MVP. Congrats.
Cool. Can always use that inspiration. Thanks, everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't have too much inspiration.
Like I said, not too much combat, but we are kind of digging into the politics of Issyk as the summit approaches. So hopefully everyone's enjoying it.
And
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Relic to show up at the summit, demanding my head.
I don't know if Relic would be smart to go to the summit because, like, he doesn't have.
No,
He'll
he
be
would
fucking
instantly get
shot on
attacked.
sight.
Yeah, no.
Arden Relic shows up in a room full of spellcasters, and at least 3 of them have radiant magics. Fucking. Here's a joke: Arden Relic shows up in a room. Bakor, Akami, and Jazik are there.
Yeah.
The end. That's the whole joke.
Yeah. No, I don't think he would actually show up. I'm being silly and hyperbolic.
Yeah.
I think he might conceivably do something to disrupt the summit if he knows about it, but he would not do it by showing up.
That would be fucking funny to me though. Just Arden Relic shows up and Chazik fucking divine smites his ass
Melts him,
into
yeah.
another plane. Chazik hits like a truck, man.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, Arden Relic has plenty of anger towards the group at this point, but I don't think he has the power to do anything about the summit. But anyway, yeah, I will take some notes and see you all next week.
Hey guys, where did
Thanks,
that potion end up? Does the potion of growth need to go in the party inventory, or did someone take that in their own inventory?
That's a good question.
I think it needs to go in the party inventory. Nobody claimed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that's enlarged? Well, that's
Yeah,
large, right?
it's basically enlarged.
It's enlarged. Yeah. All right, I'll put it in the bag I'm holding.
Oh gosh, where's my character sheet?
Good night, everybody.
Yep,
Good
see
night.
you all next
Good night.
week. I'll
See you
take
next
some
week.
notes, and yeah, we'll see you all for the next game.
Dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Bum bum bum. Political games are harder to take
They're
notes
nutty.
for.
Yeah, they're wild. Session notes. People talked about a lot of shit at the end.
Yeah, lots of talking and political intrigue stuff.
So with a Donnie journal, it'd be talky, 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 talky,
Yeah, I was
talky,
gonna say
talky.
somebody invite Donnie.
Walk a
in.
bit, talk, 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 teleport, talk, talk.
Nobody ever shut up.
Nobody let me smash.
Tanya, step 1 tomorrow night is to roll Arcana. Step 2 is cast Darkness. That's the plan.
Yeah. Group did stuff in Vault. Elodie gained ghouls, and everyone freaked out. That's pretty much what happened this game. Elodie became a major player suddenly.
Yeah, fuck. I was expecting her to like, I previously it was like we have like all these, A listers and B listers, and she was like.
She's like a C or D.
On the D squad, and now she's like, I'm S rank, and I was like, well,
she's on X-Men Gold Team now, or X-Men like whatever.
Ghoul team.
Ghoul Team, yeah, X-Men Ghoul Team. Hopefully everyone on the Twitch enjoyed as well, because I'm gonna kill the stream now. But if you did enjoy, yeah, just subscribe and follow and all that stuff. All right, bye.
Hey.